with a little imagination, you can just about see a glimpse of the Wembley sunshine. Well, this is going to be a torrid 80 minutes to negotiate before one of these two sides can book their place in the Ladbrokes Challenge Cup final. Brian Noble, John Keir alongside me. What are we expecting here?
Well, we expect a Hull FC team who are outstanding physically, with the big guys in the middle taking them forward, and they've got clever half-backs behind them who finish the sets well. But I'm also expecting a heck of a contest from the Wigan Warriors as well. They will be equally as physical and equally as determined.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree with everything John says there. You've got Houghton and you've got Shaw for this whole team. On the back of any quick play the ball will exploit it. But that man there who's just kicked the ball, Mark Sneyd, has had an outstanding season with kicking the ball. And this whole team won't be frightened about pinning this Wigan team where they are now and trying to keep them there. But John's right. This red and white team, this cherry and white team is going to have a huge crack.
We're expecting, as Jamie Peacock was saying, face-to-face brutality before finally finesse can break out in this game. Well, we've seen some confident touches by Hull in that opening set. What about Wigan here as they try to bring it forward from deep inside their own half?
Well, we saw a great kick, didn't we, as well from Sneyd, and it's really bought them some land, some field position. And this is tackle 4, and they've just got out of their own 20 metres, the Warriors.
So Hull doing their work defensively. Flower trying to extricate his side from deep territory with his run, the Welsh international. Back to Matty Smith, who's behind the 40-metre mark. Tests the touchline, but Shaw will use his shins to collect safely. And here comes Michaels, the Australian, to return it just beyond the 25.
A lot of this game, Dave, and for our viewers watching, it will be about the back three of both teams. And that's two wingers and the fullback. And here goes Talanoa on his feet, just on that angle.
Well, terrific break from Fatsuli Talanoa, and he's still going. He ran through Tompkins, and he needed a chasing pack to get back and put him down. This is a great start by Hull. They really are looking confident early stages, as right it comes again towards Fanoa, who's held up 10 yards away in at dummy half. It's taken here by Mano, and left it goes again. Ellis trying to urge himself through that Wigan defence, who are clinging on manfully here at the moment. Houghton goes right to Mavavi. Here comes Fanoa. The Hull supporters in terrific voice just at the moment, as well they might be. Sneyd will hang one up, Sargison's underneath it, and the long arms of his will collect it safely, and Wigan have it back again.
What a magnificent catch that was from Sargison, but what a break from Talanoa that was carried on by this Hull FC side. This is 110 miles per hour.
Shaun Wayne, just like Lee Radford, a very famous and proud son of his particular town, Wigan born and bred. Good hands there. On that occasion from Lewis Tierney. And Wigan get a penalty to relieve a bit of the pressure as well.
Well, the old rules of rugby league still apply to this game there, so you won't want to be giving away too many penalties when you're in the ascendancy physically. So both times will have another, and both teams will want to look after the ball as well.
Yeah, it was a real let-off there for the Wigan Warriors. They were under the pump this first 3.5 minutes. Really been hair them, scare them for the guys in cherry and white, and that's a pretty soft let-off. An ill-disciplined penalty really from Hull FC.
The top restart, and they are two terrific packs, aren't they? They really are. Two of the best packs in the game at the moment. Trying to bring it forward, Wigan.
I love it, Woodsy, when the referee shouts movement. It's the last thing you want to do when you've been belted that hard is move.
Gildart cutting back inside again. Player is still only 19 years of age. In fact, it's Bateman, isn't it? I apologise. John Bateman, who came in, he's a fine young athlete as well. And it comes towards Willie Isa. So they're creeping closer, but they're running through the tackles here. A couple of tackles to go. Tompkins down this line side with a lovely little kick here. Shaw has to do some work. That is a terrific kick from Sam Tompkins, because it has put Hull under pressure. Drop out underneath the sticks.
That's clever play, that really is. It all started with that penalty that gifted them a bit of field position. They asked questions during the set, and then it was a lovely dink along the floor. It's a greasy surface, and that just allowed them to just shepherd the fullback there, Shaw, over into the goal area for a repeat set. Clever play from the Warriors.
Yeah, great kick from Tompkins.
So here comes the drop, and all things being equal, Wigan should have possession back again. It's a little fiddly from Tierney's point of view, but again deals with it more than adequately. And Flower does the heavier weighted stuff down the middle again. Sutton. He's been playing a lot in the second row this year, hasn't he, Ryan Sutton, but very much up front today.
Yeah, I think Coach Wayne sees the victory in and around the middle there. He's got 4 big front rowers on the bench, so everybody can go for broke in every stint that they've got. He needs to manage his interchange real well.
This is Smith, who puts it back to O'Loughlin, and Williams just about keeping a hold of it, and his kick is overcooked. It's a little bit too much weight on that. Frustration from the coach.
Too many pre-match Weetabix there, or whatever energy bars and drinks they do, but just not the touch that we saw from the first hit from Tompkins. He was a little bit rushed because of the quality of his catch.
And again, Brian, because Tompkins' great kick built field position and pressure, that's just let Hull off the hook, exactly as the penalty did earlier to the Wigan Warriors.
It's great though, isn't it? You can feel the pressure, can't you? Both teams, each kick matters so much.
They both have Wembley tradition, don't they? One of them wanted, one of them not wanted. Wigan 30 times finalists, 19 times Challenge Cup winners, which is a record. And Hull have had their moments in the sunshine, 3 times winners. The last of those under the man on my right-hand side, John Keir, in 2005, but that was in Cardiff. And Hull fans are already groaning and throwing things at the telly here. Never at Wembley. But is this going to be the year they rewrite that particular moment of history? We shall see. Sneed, that measured left foot into the corner, and again that is just a very intelligent kick.
Yeah, this is going to be so important, the end of sets for both teams. We've seen great examples with Tompkins, and another equally fine kick from Sneed there. Just puts the ball into the corner and just challenges Wigan. If you're going to score, fellas, you've got 90 metres to do it.
Maybe something for our viewers as well, Woodsy, is that the whole team are littered with South Sea Islanders, Tongans, Samoans, and the high energy burners. They burn a lot of energy really quickly when they make breaks, and I think that game management side for Sneed will allow them to keep their powerful prowess.
So Williams on a feed, and out it comes at the back with Powell standing in that loose forwards position at the back of that pack. Tompkins, not too much going on to his right-hand side, so he has to take it in himself, and is wrestled under control by those 2 Hull defenders. Bateman, just back from a club suspension, isn't he? He spent 8 weeks on the sidelines, John Bateman, because of a bit of internal disciplinary reasons. That ball's lost, and the referee says knocked on, so Hull get a victory here, a small victory, head and feet at the scrum.
Well, they're staring each other down, aren't they? That's basically it. They're saying you have to bring it out from your own line. Are you going to make the error? Well, Sargis has come up with the error, and that's given Hull really good field position. The first time, I believe, Hull was starting with the set inside the Wigan half.
He was as tough as old boots as a player, wasn't he, Lee Radford? In fact, both coaches fit that mould, don't they? Tough as old boots when they were playing. Radford and Wayne. And Sean Wayne. You wouldn't want to cross either of them, really. There's Watts, who's held up, can't get the ball away. He and Scott Taylor have had outstanding seasons in the front row for Hull this year. For Noah. He's got his initials, MF, gilded on his front teeth. Solid gold MF on his front teeth. Here's Minicello.
This Wigan line speed is terrific in defence of putting the Hull ball players under pressure.
To Navabi.
I think it's 10 metres of made, Ryan, in 4 tackles there. It's tremendous defence.
Houghton striding over Sean O'Loughlin to pick the ball, and Sneed offers it back in the middle again. A little flick away, has kept it alive. So Jamie Shaw, who's fleet of foot, given half a chance, and just tantalise that Wigan defence, but solid work by Flower. But here comes the 6th tackle, and they're running it, and Eamon is going to be held up 9 yards short.
You'd be happy with that, Brian, wouldn't you? Just turning the ball over 8 metres from the opposition line. You had a look at them on the last tackle, putting the ball through the hands.
I think Wigan will take a lot of confidence as well about Oh, they pressured the whole attack there as well, which in essence enforced them to run the play on the last ball.
A couple of tackles gone through here by Wigan. As they look to bring it clear again.
Release!
It's Gareth Ellis who's got the player mic on into it today. Interesting to hear what he has to say during the game at full-time here today, and no doubt an extended version tomorrow during our coverage of the second semi-final. Warrington against Wakefield. That's a very good kick. It's Hull who get head and feed, only 10 metres from their own line.
An excellent kick, isn't it, from Matty Smith last time. Drills it to the corner, and interestingly, both teams walk into the scrum there, filling the lungs up. The lungs will be burning at this point in time, because this is when the emotion, the adrenaline that's carried you through this first 10 minutes just starts draining away that little bit.
It is a first rendition of Old Faithful we've heard so far tonight.
There's a great following, isn't there, from Hull FC.
Well, they're mad for it, aren't they? This competition in particular. They're in line for the treble, as we said earlier, as are Wigan and Warrington as it stands. But I think if you ask most Hull fans, if you could only win one, I think they're all to a man and woman and child say, a Wembley victory, please. And that's a penalty.
Geez, a cute cookie, this Houghton. He's got himself a pack this year. He's been able to exploit his offensive prowess all the time, his attacking prowess. Anytime anybody's half measured or half in position, he takes off here. Look at this. He picks out a couple of Wigan defenders, slow to retreat, and somebody not straight. So, thank you, sir. We'll have a penalty.
I think we've got to applaud Fernauer as well, haven't we, for the urgency on the floor to play that ball quickly.
Here's Ellis, sticking his head where it hurts and trying to push another yard or two forward. Houghton in at dummy half again. Goes left, it's Watts who gets it away. It's Minicello on that left-hand side. He's got a fair step on him as well, hasn't he, Mark Minicello, when the mood grabs him. Tough customer to deal with. Here comes Yeoman.
Movement! Hold there, boys, wait, no.
30 yards away. Sneed. Taylor straightening things up, honest endeavour, but matched equally by the defence of Wigan. Sneed again now. It's into the line to Mavavi, who juggles and just about gets a hold of it before he knocks on. Last tackle coming up. 12.5 minutes played. Lifted high. Up go the jumps and the leaps. It comes down to Shaw. It's still the last, so Shaw will put the kick towards that in-goal area. Bateman has it. Can he get out? No, he can't. Great effort again. Danny Houghton once more involved in that. Drop out underneath the sticks.
It's a tremendous play, isn't it, Houghton? It really is. The position he plays him and the energy they invest. And he makes that kick there. It's a decent kick from Shaw, but it's Houghton's effort there in the chase that pens Bateman in the in-goal area. And that effort, right, has earned Hull FC another set of 6 tackles.
Well, Bateman stuck his fist in Shaw's face. He missed him, so Houghton had to get there, didn't he? He just went bam to John Bateman right in the mush of Jamie Shaw, who should have made the tackle, didn't make the tackle, and out towards I'll help you out, son, I'll make it for you.
When that tackle happened, John Keir and Brian Noble looked at each other with smiles of two experienced coaches who've just seen something very, very good on a rugby league field. Mavavi. And here, winding himself up, comes Scott Taylor.
Tell you another thing, Dave, as well. I think Lewis Turney's going to have a busy night tonight. I think he's the preferred kick option for LFC rather than Manfredi.
Ellis. Danny Houghton in again. It's a tireless role that any dummy half has to play. You've always got to be there, or mostly be there. Minicello forward pass to him. So Wigan will get a much welcome head and feet at the scrum here.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. I think he got away with one, maybe 5 minutes ago he got away with one, so the timing on that left shift play there, just not quite right. It's Tui Mavavi, they clearly see he passes the ball forward.
Interesting choice there. I mean, how much of a quandary, there's Sean Wayne, but how much of a quandary would Lee Radford have been in that standoff position? Leon Price doesn't seem to be in favour at the moment, but loads of experience. And Jordan Abdul, the young player as well, who's fitted in, but Tuamava's the man who's gone with. So how much of a quandary is that, would you say?
Well, I think it's a big quandary. Every coach for every team selection, you want to make sure you get it right and you mull things over in your mind before you make that choice. But they're very, very confident in Tuamavavi. They feel he's a very skillful player, and they feel he's the standoff half for the future.
That's Isa, who's put down as Wigan, with a Lachlan, begin to move it right, and Sargison, who's on his way at the end of the season, joins Gold Coast Titans in the NRL, does Dan Sargison. So we want to finish on a half. Penalty here for Wigan. Will take them with a kick inside their opponent's half.
Well, I think that was a lazy penalty, and on play 5 as well. So again, for our viewers, back end of the set, you think they're going to kick. His arm slips off the ball, to be fair. I think he's trying to wrap the ball up, so maybe a bit of a tough call.
But there is as well, Brian, there's that element, 15 minutes gone now, there's just that element of fatigue that's creeping into some of these big fellas' techniques.
Here's Smith, Lachlan. So many facets to his game, isn't there? Sean Lachlan, that's just one of them, that hard running straight down the middle element that he gives. As well as a heck of a lot of skill as well. Sutton spinning forward.
To move Danny back here, Mark, Jamie.
Powell, Williams, left foot step, but taken in by Gareth Ellis.
Well, all the guys in the pre-match build-up emphasised how good Williams was running, but not when you've got Gareth Ellis opposite you.
George, tip, don't run at him.
Flower goes down 10 metres out, Powell picks up, here comes Williams again, who's up to the line, and reaches. Has he got that down? I think he might have here, you know. Ben Thaler's having a look and gives the try. Well, full marks to George Williams, stopped in no uncertain terms by Ellis the play before, and then the very next play, he finds a way through to score the opening try of the semi-final.
Brilliant try from George Williams. Tip to the bend, tip to the commentary team. If I'll run when I want to run, because I'm going to get over the line. He picked out Gareth Ellis this time. Is he going to pass? Is he going to run? That's the threat. And Ellis doesn't get there and grabs him by the legs because of his speed and his hip strength. Well played, George Williams. Threatens to pass. Every good halfback has to have the ability to run and be a threat with the ball. And he's done both there. And how does he please Sean Wayne?
Well, really, it's massive credit, isn't it? Because the last time he ran the ball, he got absolutely walloped. But did that with him 1 iota? No. And next time, as you rightly pointed out, Brian, ball in 2 hands, the doubt of the pass, and over he goes.
Well, that's got the Wigan fans off their seats and has just silenced the whole supporters for a moment. Matty Smith with a chance to add the 2 here. One of the many in this Wigan side who have played in Wembley finals. He's gone one further than that. He won the Leinster Trophy in 2013, didn't he? Matty Smith against Hull.
Well, this could prove crucial nowadays, the goal kicking, because Sneed's got a fantastic percentage kick rate and Smith needs to nail these.
It's one of those betwixt and betweens here. Just that awkward angle. Matty Smith would back himself to kick this most times. Starts it aiming at the far post, curls it in. It's superbly struck, and Wigan lead here by 6 points to 0.
Well, I'm really impressed with what the Wigan Warriors have done. But this is a great side. Carrying the ball at the line. The quick ruck didn't allow the whole defensive line to come forward and advancing, and all of a sudden it put the cards in George Williams' hands, and my word, he played them sensibly.
Well, he had Fanoa and Manu guessing that he might be passing, we've got to hang out, and Gareth Ellis couldn't quite make up on the inside to make the defensive play. So, as you say, John, really smart play from the half.
From dummy half goes Powell. Penalty for Wigan again.
Well, there's been a fair old storm that Wigan have weathered, and it looks like they've come through the other side, and they're just getting a few penalties now and building that pressure, and obviously they've turned the scoreboard.
Isa. Well, Isa slamming it in. 40 yards to go for Wigan. 40 yards to defend for Hull. 5 tackles remaining. Here comes Flower. He's dropped it cold, the referee says. This is an advantage play. And he'll wave play on from here. 6 tackles start from here. Jostling effort by Michaels, he's lost it. Big tackle, Wigan have it back. Bateman on that right-hand side.
Well,
he's lost it.
It's greasy out there, and they're whacking into each other at some intensity. Jamie Shaw got absolutely splattered by, I think it was Ben Flower in the middle. He dropped the ball. No advantage allegedly to Wigan, so they come back after the free play.
There's Flower there, lost the ball, but it was backwards, so it was the knock on. And this one, wallop, it's Michaels, isn't it, off Flower, obviously trying to make up for, atone for his error, and my word he did, and he's won possession back for his team.
It's very greasy out there, just for our viewers. It looked quite nice for a game of football, but the ground itself is extremely greasy.
This is Matty Smith. And Red in defence by Yeaman, who came flying out, might have lost a bit of pace in his mellowing years, shall we say, but he's not lost his ability to read those defensive moments. 2 tackles gone here. Wigan, though, encroaching further inside the whole half. It's a risky pass. Tompkins will collect. Now the risk switches the other way because Wigan in possession and moving it. Bateman takes the tackle.
He's a strong man, is Bateman.
20 away. Sargison searching down that right-hand side. Manfredi pushing them off and having a go. Closer and closer they get, and they're still going down that blind side. Hull's defence now hanging on. Last tackle in the set. Smith. The chasers are after it, but I think it was taken on the ground. Taken on the ground by Liam Watts. That was a terrific diving catch.
There's some black jumpers out there that are blowing. Their energy levels are really low because of this. The system that Wigan have jumped into. They look comfortable, they look like they know what they're doing. They've got Hull rattled here.
Hull just looking to survive this set and get themselves downfield, I'm sure. Supermanu. Taken on again, a stride or two by Green. On the field from the interchange bench. 6 tackle coming up. They're going to have to kick it here. Sneed looks for distance, but it's straight down the throat of Sam Tompkins. Now Tierney with a bit of a swivel of the hip, and down he goes. Let's hear from Robbie Hunter-Paul down on the touchline. Robbie, what are you thinking?
Well, I've just got to admire everything about Wigan at this point in time. They got the ball, they got the handover, they went straight into attack. They got to the back end of that, got a kick away, and then Hull FC turned the ball over to Hull FC. But what I liked about them, they went straight into defence. Their players got, they barred up, they got right in the middle, and they got out of the blocks really, really quickly. And what was fantastic is they forced Hull FC, with all the strike power that they have when they're carrying the ball, to kick from the 30-metre line. It's very impressive, everything Wigan's doing at the moment.
Just having a chuckle there, not what Robbie was saying, but the fact that Ryan Sutton was trying to run with his shirt pulled over his eyes. Couldn't see what he was doing there.
It's the BFG.
Where am I going? Where am I going?
He doesn't know where he's going.
He's going in the right direction anyway.
Go that way. Using sound bites. Go that way.
And then he dropped it after all that. I'm sure Sean is looking at that again with any humour.
Stay on, boys. Wait there, guys, please. Make sure you buy him properly, fellas. Okay, Matty, stay on. Heads in, Danny.
18 minutes of the first half remaining. 6-0 Wigan lead. Hull in possession, and you can see the territory in possession so far. Very heavily weighted in Wigan.
Well, Wigan dominating that, but the territory's even Stevens, really. But that Hull will need 50% of possession, I believe, to win this game.
Ellis to Sneed, and here come the run of Minicello, who steps away from a couple of defenders. He takes some stopping, but he is stopped. 15 out. Sneed again puts the left foot, dabbled kick through. Shaw was after it, taken very, very well
George
behind
Williams.
the line by Williams again.
That was tremendous, and that was a kick on the third tackle as well.
Oh, Sargison's dropped it. Well, he's shouting at his teammates. He might want to look round because Hull are attacking. Shaw. Push by Manu. What a gift this is for Hull FC in terms of possession and position. Taylor stoutly driving it forward. Danny Houghton stands and waits and now collects and goes to his right, and Manu will try the bludgeoning route, but the door remains firmly shut. Houghton skipping it left, Sneed again to Mavavi, trying to put the skates on, but again he was matched. It's another Hull penalty. They're occupying time on this Wigan line.
Yeah, well, they're getting some territory back now, aren't they? And they're camped on the Wigan line. This is a real test for the Warriors. A repeat set defending your own line.
The equation normally is penalty, try, isn't it? That's what we're told. Can Hull deliver on that? To Mavavi, stepping inside and then back out, and Shaw's not sure which way he's going. He decides to take his man on, but
Wigan's defence looks really well organised at the moment against this Hull threatening with their big people, and I can't help thinking but Sneed might be the answer here with maybe one of his kicks.
Wait, guys. Wait!
Danny Houghton is going to have to be patient here. What's he giving here? What's happened? What's happened?
Blood, I think, on
Chris Green has just got up and thrown the ball. I think he's just
a minute. Let him sort him out.
He's taking a knock to the head here, I think.
Just let me just sort this out, guys.
I don't think he knows where he is quite.
Rob? Yeah.
This was the hit.
What's that one there?
Yeah.
Flower.
As he's going down, he's fallen into the arm, hasn't he, of Flower?
I think that was accidental. That was no intent at all in that.
And did he think that the referee had given a penalty there, or was he just nonplussed?
I think he was nonplussed.
I think we are.
He has given a penalty. Well, there's a way to win a penalty.
Yeah. I think it's up the replay to get it.
Just assume that you've been given a penalty, and the referee might agree with you.
Throw it to somebody. Oh, that's a penalty, sir. Oh, is it? What for? Look at the screen.
Your contact's fine.
Taking 2 points.
They're going for goal.
It's Ben on the head as he's going down. He's reviewed it. That's all right.
Well, that's an interesting decision, is it, by Hull FC? But here's the penalty, and
well, there is contact with the head.
there is.
Both teams,
So that's the penalty. It's interesting, Brian, taking the 2 points. It is a gimme 2 points, and it will get the scoreboard ticking at long last for Hull FC, because the Wigan defences look pretty awesome. And I think that indicates that the black and whites think it's going to be a very, very, very close game.
I agree with that sentiment, and I was tempted the penalty before, or the one before, thinking I'd maybe get the tins rolling and get 2 here. And reorganise and talk about, we're in a game here, guys, we need to get our system going, because Wigan look more comfortable than we do at the moment.
So Mark Sneed with his exaggerated kicking style, not quite as exaggerated as it sometimes is, but the roar of Sneed from the Hull fans, which is a cry they've adopted this year as he keeps banging them over. 6 points to 2, Wigan lead, but Hull finally have their share of the party. 2 points on the board.
Yeah, it's interesting that, though, because there was a sustained period of pressure there from Hull FC, and there might be a little glimmer in the Wigan hearts that think these guys don't think they can break us down.
There's the kick that just bounces a little awkward, but Mavavi will take it in comfortably enough, and the way back is led in the first instance by Scott Taylor. And here comes Chris Green.
Taylor will want to do well, won't he, being an ex-Wigan player.
Played at Wembley, of course, for Wigan, but he said this week that playing at Wembley for Hull would be much, much sweeter. But of course he would say that, wouldn't he? But he is a Hull lad, isn't he? So it's his hometown club. Minicello's done really well to get that ball away when he looked to have been bundled up. Manu will ride the big chest beat of O'Loughlin, and he's done well as well. And for Noah, he's still going. Boy, they take some stopping, don't they? Eventually they go down. 40 yards further downfield than Wigan thought they should have done. Minicello down that left-hand side. Yeaman with a step back again.
5, move down!
One tackle in the set to go. Hull 20 metres away. Sneed again, familiar routine. High kick. Michaels and Fanua knocking it back. Still the 6th tackle. Still the 6th tackle. Michaels runs it back to the middle. Sneed thinks about kicking, then eventually he does. That's a delicate little chip over the top. That's a really good kick, and Tompkins has to be at his best to knock it away.
Well played, Mark Sneed. That play was dead. Hull kept it alive. It was going everywhere, and it went to that man. It's been tracked down by Matty Smith, as we saw there, and he thinks, I'll stick this on the toe. It beats, clean ball, Sam Tompkins, and he very nearly gets there for the try, and Tompkins bats it out, or does he?
Premature, I think, is the word to describe that celebration from those Hull fans.
But I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a skill there from Sneed. To kick the ball with such a weighting as that when you're running at full speed, fair skill is that.
Well, there's a discussion going on here because I think Sam Tompkins is trying to persuade the referee that it was Sneed's touch that put it behind the dead ball line. Well, they're not going to the video ref. He does have the option of going to the video ref, but Ben Thaler is convinced his naked eye was accurate enough. Here comes Taylor.
Last one, move, Sean! Here we are, boys.
Well,
John Douglas,
6 or 7 minutes have really been Hull's, haven't they? They've really cranked it up, and they've asked questions of this Wigan defence, but fair credit to the Cherry and Whites, they stood up to it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sneed, Mr. Minicello goes out now to Shaw. Shaw, the fullback, chiming in. Pulled down by Sargison. 9 steps away. Taylor. Ellis comes in on the angle and the step over the top of Tompkins, and his arms are long enough to reach for the line. Or are they? Because the referee is putting the square in the air. No try.
Grounded short first.
Grounded short.
Check me to make sure that's correct.
Well,
yes,
we're going to the video referee,
so we're checking
so
the
let's
grounding.
hear from our
if it's
video
no try,
referee,
it's tackle
Robert
4,
Hicks.
assuming he keeps hold. Okay. So we're at tackle 3, the next will be 4. We're checking the grounding, please. So first of all, got to make sure he keeps hold of the ball. Secondly, that he hits the line with the ball. The live decision is no try. So, based on that looks short. Looks like there's green in between that. Oh, I can't quite see. If you got one from the side, that might show a bit closer. Okay, so as slow as we can, please. It's in his hand, it's still in possession. Ellis is still in possession, and he's still got hold of the ball as it comes down. So he still gets hold, but that looks like it's short to me. Short of the line there. Keep it rolling, please. Keep it going. It's then going backwards now. He moves it forward, but again, I can't prove that that's hit the line. Still looks short. Just keep it going to see what he actually does. No, he brings the ball back now. So yeah, one more please if we can. It looks short on all these so far. He's definitely got possession. That looks short. Oh, no. Can you take that one back? Can I have that one slowly, please? If we can go frame by frame. He initially doesn't ground the ball, it's grounded short, but he's allowed to project the ball as long as it stays in the hand. Right, that's definitely short there. Can't definitely see that on the line. That looks short. No, this one's the one I'll need, I think. If you can pause that, it's about 3 frames before that I think is where it actually may touch the line. I'm not convinced he's definitely touched, and the live decision is no try. So I've got to have sufficient evidence to prove it has touched the line. Okay. So. Right, that looks short. That looks short. Yeah, if that's all we've got, I'm going to go no try, tackle 4. I can't prove that that ball's actually touched the line. It will be tackle 4, Ben.
Well, millimetres.
Well,
poor old Robert Hicks, we keep throwing up some difficult video referees. We had one in the last round, didn't we, at Wigan?
I thought we were at Wimbledon then.
Chalkness, bit of chalkness, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, it really was.
Came off the boot of one of the defenders. No try, but it is still Hull in possession because they were short, no double movement there. So they still have an attacking opportunity here. Sneed with a short pass, forward pass. And the referee's already blown as a forward pass, so he's not going to allow the free play.
Well, a bit of a damp finish from a lot of excitement, a brilliant ball, great break from Ellis, and the referee got it bang on, by a mile. Kate Yeaman there.
But Brian, you were all speaking beforehand about Sam Tompkins, the effect of the injury. But Matt, it hasn't affected his defensive work, has it? That was tremendous full-back defence, because Gareth Ellis coming at you full tilt, 5 metres from your line, you have to be brave and you have to be technically effective to make that tackle.
Absolutely bang on. And he nailed it, didn't he? Absolutely nailed it.
One move, Gareth!
There's Sargison, who's put down 15 from his own line as Wigan begin that tough task of getting as far downfield as they can.
Stand up!
Having survived a real spell of pressure, having only survived by the width of a fingernail in the end. So I wonder what Leon Price, who's not playing here today, is thinking about all of this. He's down there, the whole man. He's with Damien Johnson.
Yes, Leon, you felt that was a try from Gareth Ellis.
Yeah, I think it looked like a try from where outside. Eventually, it looked like the ball maybe touched the line, but obviously, the benefit of the doubt's gone against us.
How do you break down this formidable Wigan defence?
It's about patience, obviously, having a little bit of patience, a bit of field position. Listen, it's a Challenge Cup semi-final, so it's going to be tough. Wigan are a good team, so you've got to keep on grinding.
Thanks, Leon.
There's a surprise. Penalty for Hull.
They needed that penalty there.
Yeah.
They got back late. Talanoa thought the ball was going to run dead. It didn't. Off it goes, Danny
Houghton takes the quick touch. Takes them all by surprise and gets another penalty for a high tackle.
Oh, and the small things do big games get won.
It's like he just played his joker there. It was like a double result, that, wasn't it?
Well, Shaw will be very, very disappointed with his Wigan side there. They switched off, they turned the back on Houghton, but he was fully aware it was a controlled restart. The referee gave him the all clear to tap it and go, and he did. Got a penalty on the back of that. And they'll be starting this set, Dave, about 35-40 metres away from the Wigan line.
There you see the territory.
Oh.
It's gone some distance Hull's way, hasn't it?
It certainly has. And I'll tell you what, when you look at that territory and that possession, you've got to pat Wigan on the back for their defensive efforts.
I think they look really strong defensively, Wigan. I think it's going to be a kick play or one of those little enterprising plays we saw Ellis go through the line. They're going to have to be real good here, Hull, to get over the line.
Jordan Thompson is on the field from the bench. That was him. Notice to be tackled. Houghton goes out from dummy half, and here comes Frank Pritchard, who's lost it forwards, the referee says. It came out forwards. It's another of those marginal decisions that sometimes go with you, sometimes go against you.
And he knocks on. It's the Wigan player. Mossop touches it, and Frank the Tank's got to do better than that for his team.
Good contact there, wasn't it, from Mossop? Good shoulder contact just underneath the ball. That's a couple of times, Brian, that they forced the header with that technique.
Yeah, it's greasy, and when you're carrying the ball, if you can hit underneath, as we like them to do, you're going to get your rewards in the day.
Still, lads. Okay,
lovely shoulder contact, and it wasn't knock on, you know, it came out of his hands and it went forward, hit him on the head before it came back. So good refereeing.
Sargison.
One move! Back here.
And a penalty for Wigan. They will start 5 yards inside the whole half, leading as they do 6-2. 8 minutes of the half remaining. And whilst it remains tight, it's worth reminding that it's golden point extra time here tonight if it's all square after 80 minutes.
So move, Chris! Yeah, no.
It's Powell.
Don't let him get off.
Williams. Tompkins stepping, tantalising, weaving. Mossop ducking, but not dodging. Good hit by the whole defence again here. Powell. This is Matty Smith. Torte on his inside. Dummies to Bateman, does Matty Smith. It's tackled by Pritchard. Bateman goes out of dummy half. Mossop. That's 5. Here comes the last. Wigan right underneath the whole sticks. A gale of abuse coming from the whole fans as Williams throws a lovely pass. It's Tierney finishes. It's a forward pass. Well, the pass from Williams deserved better than that, but it was the last pass to Tierney that was forward.
Wigan had done him. They'd absolutely done him. Somebody got a read wrong with the whole defence. He got up for numbers. I think it was Williams' change of pace again.
Yeah, the centre was looking inside, wasn't it? Yes.
Noah's missed him by a mile. Gosh, they got lucky there, Hull.
Yeah. But what a great last tackle play there from Williams. You know, we spoke about his running again in the build-up, and the indication was he's improving his passing game. Well, he certainly illustrated that.
That smack around the melon that Gareth Ellis gave him earlier has really sparked his game up.
Wait. Stay on the side.
Minicello. Shake off those defenders, but they're not to be shaken. Houghton. Going across, looking for a way through Thompson. They come again, there's a bit of space here for Michaels, and Shaw's on his inside. This is Shaw. Tompkins forward to make another very good tackle, but Hull have got momentum here and need to use it. Sneed has a look, skips, and then puts the kick. I'm not sure what that was, and I don't think his teammates know quite what that was, but at least Wigan are forced back 5 from their own line.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, I'm going to give another rap to Sam Tompkins defensively. He pulled off that tackle around the legs there, and he was back for the kick. That's how much work he was doing off the ball, and it's those little things that win you semi-finals.
Busby. He's another who's recent arrival from the interchange bench, Dominic Busby. Bateman.
So far.
It's Busby again.
Crosby.
Sorry, I always call him Busby. It's because I do know somebody called Dominic Busby, and anyway, it is Crosby. I do apologise.
I'm looking at Woodsy there and I'm thinking, I'm going down the list going, Busby.
You were both looking
When
at
did he sneak in?
I thought that sounded another player.
Apologies to Dominic Crosby. Hull bringing it forward.
Move the lead. There you go,
Houghton. Here's Timavadi. Doing well again here.
Move, George!
4.5 minutes of the half remaining. Manu's told to play the ball where he was. He's sneaked another couple of yards forward. Off the mark, Pritchard. Pass away, Thompson. That's the 5th. And here comes the 6th as Houghton throws it out left and Sneed spirals it high in the air. Tompkins with a take.
What a great catch. He's having a wow of a game, isn't he?
It really is. Defensively, he's playing outstandingly well.
Tierney out of play. Good work by the whole defence.
Yeah.
Turn the screw.
Good work by the whole defence, but a bit of naivety by the youngster there. Tackle 1, bringing it out from your own half. You don't go around the outside and give them the opportunity on a greasy surface to roll into touch.
Stay on the island, son. Stay on the island, son would be the advice. Greasy floor. We highlighted this in the pre-match build-up about what they're trying to do to get you somewhere near the sideline, this whole team.
Get these rook-headers tiny, boys.
Big set this for both teams, Brian. Big set for Hull FC because they've had a fair amount of possession, fair amount of territory, and a big set for Wigan because if they can keep Hull FC triallers till half-time, it's a big feather in the cap.
Wait, will I tell you?
Chris Radlinski amongst the Wigan party, of course, sitting just in front of Sean Wayne. You have to be good to play in a Wembley final. You've got to be very good to have a Wembley final named after you. Chris Radlinski, of course, famous for the 2002 Radlinski final when he got off a sickbed and actually won a game single-handedly against St Helens in Edinburgh. There he is. Here he is. A pass since then, of course. Here's Thompson.
Move, George!
10 metres away from that Wigan line. It's Sneed. Going through the hands, and Minicello is testing them again. Held up. Very, very close. Sneed to Mavabi, dropping it back on the inside for Fanua. Wigan working very hard again. This is Houghton. Sneed pokes it through. Tierney's back to clear it away.
Absolutely fantastic defence once again from the Wigan Warriors. They're being tested, but they're working so hard, and the pressure that they are putting on Hull FC from the inside is tremendous. And that's how confident they are in their defensive structure, system and desire, that they'll just tap the ball out and say, you've got another set, but you've got to break this tremendous defence down.
And the sharp-eyed amongst you might have just seen Brian Noble walking behind Sean Winder. It's because he's on his way down to the sidelines for the half-time analysis. He's not pulling a sickie or anything. And I'm sure Sean Wayne wouldn't have noticed. Matty Smith's drop-kick clearance. Here's Thompson.
Good drop out as well, wasn't it, Dave?
Plenty of distance, wasn't it?
Plenty of distance, a good chase, and tackle one is 40 metres from the Wigan line. He's dropped that.
Yeah,
Stone cold.
Towards the touch judge on the near side, Mr. Tony Martin, who's one of the most experienced touch judges in the game, who I think just confirmed what the referee was already thinking. Knocked on.
Yeah, it's just stone cold there. Trying to play the ball, you have to be ever so careful in conditions like this, and you might have to just take that extra bit of time just to ensure you bring the ball back into play legally. But unfortunately for Hull FC, Jordan Thompson didn't. And I'm certain Wigan will look after the ball for this set and possibly put it over the sideline.
I think it's a reflection of the level of fatigue from both sides. Is that, of course, if they pack the scrum, either side can stop the clock, but neither side have wanted to stop the clock. I'm just happy to see it carry on like this till half-time, I think.
Well, this has been a proper semi-final, Dave.
Terrific,
it really has. Low scoring, but my word, the quality of play has been exceptional. The quality of defence has been absolutely brilliant. And it's a true competition.
They have brought the best out of each other here. Mossop goes to Williams, who goes to Isa.
Move! Don't be coming up the hand on the ball. Wait here. Don't be coming up.
Powell. Tortai. Dummy and rip a hole.
Marcus!
Whole defence. Powell picks up again and goes to Smith. Smith has got Tompkins out there, who's forced into a quick pass. And it goes to ground. This is danger here because it's picked up by Hull. Talanoa. Well, there were men in the way, so he couldn't go the distance. But there's a chance here, although there's only 15 seconds left to play.
Stand up!
This will be the last play of the half, you'd fancy. Thompson just thudding it forward again. Can he get to his feet and release this ball? I don't think he's going to be able to. No. The hooter sounds, the referee has a look and says play ends there. At the end of an enthralling first half. George Williams the only try scorer, and what a try. Smith with a goal, Sneed with a goal, Gareth Ellis having one ruled out, and Damien Johnson is down on the sidelines with Sean O'Loughlin.
Sean O'Loughlin, the Wigan captain, pretty happy with that first half performance, ever so tight.
Yeah, very tight. I think similar performance from both sides, D'd up pretty well, but just a few errors turning over the ball in good field position, so not chucked all at each other yet.
Frustrated not to be further ahead, given that chance for Tierney when it was disallowed.
Yeah, I couldn't really see what happened from the sideline, but yeah, if we keep getting the ball in them kind of positions, we feel like we'll get more chances like that.
Thanks, Sean. Kirk Yeaman, the Hull centre's with me as well. Kirk, what do you have to do in the second half to get back into this game?
Slow the walk down a bit. It's a bit fast at the minute. Outside support control, keep on the ball, and we'll give ourselves a chance.
Tremendous defensive effort from Wigan. Tough to break down.
Yeah, definitely. I think both defences have been pretty solid. So we'll see what happens in the second half.
Thanks, Kirk.
Well, let's take a look at some of the match facts from that first half. Hull have had more possession, they've had more territory as well. Look at that, 63% territory for Hull, 37% for Wigan, and Wigan have made a dozen more tackles than their counterparts from the other side at the Pennines. And when Kurt Yeaman, Jamie Pico, says both defences have been pretty solid, is he kind of underplaying what both defences have done in that first half?
Yeah, I think they've both been outstanding, particularly Wigan's near the back end. I thought they coughed up a lot of cheap ball, and Hull were consistently attacking the Wigan line, and they kept turning up for each other. And normally when Hull dominate possession in that kind of way this year, they've blown teams away. It's been 24-0 to Hull, so you've got to give Wigan's defence a lot of credit to be hung in there.
And if you look at the stats, this is the thing about rugby and statistical sort of analysis of sport. Hull have dominated the stats there, haven't they? They've dominated every facet, every number that you see in that list. Hull have dominated, and they've had a lot of possession, field position, all these things. But Wigan have had a dogged determination to defend their line. Hull have blown some chances, and we'll talk about that, no doubt. But Wigan's attitude and ability to defend their own line has been a standout feature of their game for a number of years.
Okay, paralysis by analysis sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the feel of the game. I think Wigan look a little bit more controlled, a little less frantic. I think Hull have had a couple of opportunities and haven't quite executed. In these big games, these two guys will tell you here, you have to take your opportunities. I'm talking about the Ellis slight miss when Harvey goes through and Talano goes through. You have to capitalise on those bricks. Wigan and Sam Tompkins, particularly defensively, have been superb in regrouping and finding themselves way down there and forward.
And one thing, when the weather's like this, is the easiest way to break a team down is to run the ball. It's wet, change of footwork. I think Hull, if they've been guilty of anything, is trying to play around Wigan, play with the ball a bit too much, in good ball that is, but it's been a great half.
Wigan are the only ones to go over the white line though. Let's take a look at that try from George Williams, and they got, well, the advantage for them was that they got field position from a high tackle first of all.
Yeah, it's one of those nights where discipline's really important, isn't it? And you give away a penalty now in Super League, in the Challenge Cup. It's a kick down the field, and what impressed me about this was George Williams' intent. He took the ball and Gareth Ellis absolutely dominated him, didn't he, JP?
Yeah, I've been hit by one of those tackles before, and they hurt, trust me. But he comes back straight back at it. He's a lot smaller guy. He's organising here, John.
Yeah, you can tell he wants the ball because all good players get the pieces around them what they want. He's organising now, and he's got one thing in his mind: to run. And what he does, he takes advantage of Hull being a little bit passive. For me, Hull don't get far enough away from the try line. And this is where George Williams is dangerous. And a great try. Look, he backed up everything that Brian said about him being strong through his hips here.
Absolutely. And it takes the line. Your first responsibility as a halfback is to be a threat with the ball, because it puts doubt in the mind. When you carry it in two hands, they don't know whether he's going to pass. So with Harvey and Fano, I don't know whether he's going to pass or hang off. Gareth Ellis can't get there. He's already run at Gareth Ellis. He just does him for speed.
I think as well, generally when you're defending there, you don't expect an halfback to get tackled twice in 3 tackles. To take the line on, you don't do it. That's not a normal occurrence.
He had his teeth rattled on the first one as well.
You relax. If you're the defender opposite him, maybe that's when you relax. You think, oh, he's come here once, twice. He's definitely not going to come back, and that's exactly what George Williams did. And I thought that was a really telling piece of play. And obviously, it's been the telling moment of that half, hasn't it?
And as you know, it's not my job to praise you or blow smoke at you, but that actually proved your point at the start about his speed and his strength. So, in my most patronising voice, well done to you all. Let's take a look at a couple of the missed opportunities, the 2 no tries. Start with Gareth Ellis.
Yeah, this is a great ball from Scott Taylor. Scott Taylor's been outstanding this year because of his physical prowess, but look at the ball skills here. He's got plenty of options and taking it as you'd expect George Williams to do. And a great line from Gareth Ellis when he's back row, but you'd expect Gaz to score here. I think he'll be upset that he's not scored there. And I think it's a great tackle from Sam Tompkins.
Without doubt, a great tackle, big play.
This should be a try. Yeah. This should be a try. And Sam gets his body in the way, and you'd expect Gaz to reach out and score, but just short.
Wigan have looked fantastic at defending their own line. This is the only time they look really vulnerable, and it was when Willie Isa and Sean O'Loughlin didn't work together. They got it a bit wrong. You think for the life Gaz Ellis he hasn't got a grip on the ball. He wants to reach out and plonk it down.
Fabulous telly, isn't he? Look at space.
I know, he's devastated.
He's the most honest man in the world as well. He got up and played the ball. He just thought, no, we'll get straight on with this.
I remember another big forward last season doing a little sidestep and going over from there. Do you remember that?
Clearly, yeah. I do remember it.
Look, the Lewis Tierney no try.
Yeah, what can we say? I mean, forward pass. I don't know what you say.
Yeah.
I mean, Williams has done brilliantly again. Ball in 2 hands, poor read from Tunvavi, I think it is, on the corner there. And it's a forward pass. I'm confident that's a forward pass from Gilbert.
Yeah, and we spoke about Williams' threat as a runner. So we've seen him run. He's ran. The sign of a great halfback is understanding when you've done a job on the defence. The defence there expecting him to run. So it's Fanua. Fanua at centre's gone. George Williams, this young Wigan kid, is going to run at me. And to deal with that, he's aggressive. But Williams, which is, I think, an amazing sign for a young halfback, went, through the ball, perfect passing. Well, it's forward, but for me, the decision-making is what's impressive about
I think as well, it's just the magnitude of the game. This is not a run-of-the-mill Super League game. This is a semi-final where he stepped up, scored a try, created another try, which should have been a try, through another facet of his play. Outstanding.
It makes an unbelievably pertinent point as JP there about taking your opportunities at this level. There won't be many more. Maybe towards the back end of the game if this breaks open, which has got a tendency, can do this game, but I think it's going to be a really tight game. And those two incidents, we saw Gaz Ellis, who will be boot kicking himself badly, and there the poor execution from Gildart at the end there, when they cooked them, you're right, Fanoa's jumped out the line, or whichever one who jumped out the line, he'd done that. Williams had done that with the threat before, he ran before, he's got the ball in two hands, he's going to pass. Brilliant play from him.
How much do you praise Wigan's defence? How much do you say Hull haven't taken their chances? It's a fine line.
Yeah, I think Hull have had possession and field position, haven't they? I don't think they've taken advantage of it. That being said, Wigan have defended very well. Hull have come up with some errors, haven't they? And looked a bit ineffective, barring the Gareth Ellis no try.
Yeah, I don't think Wigan have been Hull have been as clinical as light, but what I like about Wigan is Hull are breaking tackles, but as soon as they break a tackle, there's another red and white shirt there, and that's that desire, and that you can't really show that on the stats. That's that desire, that determination to win the semi-final.
I think Hull's kicking game's been great. I think we've got to mention Mark Sneyd. I think his short kicking game's been fantastic, but Hull, what they need to do is make some of these plays stick down at Wigan's end, because when you get possession in that part of the field, it's so important to get to the end of your sets, to tire that team out, tire them out, really take the gas out of them. And then Williams and co aren't as effective when they've got the ball, but you're letting them off the hook, aren't you, by dropping the ball?
I think emotionally, for our viewers that are watching, this is a stressful game because of the prize. And you like to tell your players there's no prize enough, treat it like another game, be professional, do your things there. But that pressure and the stress, and what John says, if you can stay at the right end of the field for longer periods and execute and build that pressure, somebody will crack.
This might sound a ridiculous thing to say. Do the conditions add to the stress of that? Because it feels closed in. The weather's a bit dank, it's a bit damp, there's a bit of rain as well. You're pushing yourselves to the very limit. Does that add to it?
Yeah, it does. Certainly the weather does, because it makes the ball greasy. You know there is a chance when you come out of your own half of an error just through force of contact, through tackles. You'd like to turn the ball over, as we've said, 5 and 5, and say, look, come out from there, we'll force an error.
Well, if it's a dry night, Gazelle scores. The end, he can grip that and put it down. The weather is really influential in rugby league, isn't it? The modern game, you've got to adapt your kicking game, and how your mental approach to the game changes completely when it's wet.
It's a bit dank and damp tonight. A week today, the sporting action could take place in slightly different conditions.
The BBC.
At the start, I thought it was the safari park that Brian's been working in. Right, the Challenge Cup continues tomorrow afternoon. The second semi-final, Warrington against Wakefield, will get underway on BBC One at 2 o'clock. Right, we're going to hear from a couple of legends now, one who played for Hull and one who played for Wigan.
Well, here's Brand again. He's already made one good tackle on, a superb ball there to Arcoy. Beautiful interpassing here, Arcoy again, and he's over, Schofield. What a try from one end to the other.
Oh, good little kick by Bruce, can he get the bounce? Oh, he can't, and Radlinski, he goes the full length of the pitch. The bounce of the ball once again proving so difficult, and Chris Radlinski scores at the other end.
Yes, Chris Radlinski and Gary Schofield join me pitch side now. Chris, let's start with you from a Wigan perspective. Are they good value for that slender half-time lead?
I think just about, I think we have to be going in at half-time relatively happy to keep a side like Hull trialless. There's some big defensive efforts right down the end there to stop them scoring. So, I would have liked to have got the one at the end there and gone in 2 tries ahead, but we didn't. But overall, I think we've got to be pretty pleased with how we've gone so far.
Shaun Wane's big on his systems, his defensive patterns, and it's worked a treat.
Yeah, it has, but you know that's not going to win us this game. This game's a typical semi-final. It's nervy, it's tense. It's who plays with a bit of composure and who's in there at the end. You know, it's a classic semi-final. Me and Scully have just been saying this is one for the purists, I guess.
Gary, ex-Hull player, of course. I'm sure you're rooting for them today, but concerned about the errors creeping into their play?
Oh, it is as well, Damien, to be honest. It also too a little bit about the creativity. You know, I think we've seen that better class from George Williams, certainly with that try what he scored there, and maybe unlucky with that forward pass, but it's just the creativeness that maybe just lacking for Folleen that first half. The forwards are doing okay, proper game of rugby league, they're ripping in the forwards, but it's just we need more from Tim Harvey and Mark Sneed at half-back.
What do you think Lee Radford will be saying to the players at half-time?
When we get ourselves a good field position, let's build a little bit more pressure, but it's that creativeness, because Wigan, as we all know, the structure of what they've got defensively, they're very, very solid, so they need to come up with a little bit better, certainly in attack.
Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you to the three of them. Right, Gareth Ellis has been wearing the player mic for us today. This is how the first half sounded through him.
Go, boys. Go here. Yeah, go again, yeah. Here we go. Great work. He's holding me. Don't lose the aggression. Be smart, boys. Knock on! Knock on! Forward! Awesome. No shot. No try. I think that close at line. I should have gone off to right. Move, Wigan!
And we will have a longer version of that, obviously including the second half in tomorrow's coverage when we bring you Warrington Wakefield on BBC One from 2 o'clock. Jamie, quickly, what do Hull need to do in the second half, apart from obviously score more than Wigan?
I think they need to be better and have more composure in good ball. They've been down there a lot. I think keep breaking tackles, keep running hard, and keep Sneed's kicking game.
Can you keep this defensive intensity up from a Wigan perspective for another 40 minutes?
Yeah, I think they can. Look, these are two fantastic defensive sides. The challenge for me will be Hull to maintain composure. I think be patient. Patience is a big word for Hull for me tonight. And they can certainly break Wigan down, but Wigan look ferocious with the way they're defending the line.
Patience can be hard, though, in a cup semi-final, can't it?
Absolutely, but you've got to have patience. I think Hull need to get one of their bigger players one-on-one with somebody to, you know, manufacture that break, either a Sika Manu or a Frank Pritchard or one of Tumababi. Even Danny Houghton running dummy half with Shaw on his inside might be the difference. I think that's what they're relying upon. I think Wigan look very slick, very organised, as we know that, and I've really got the bit between their teeth, haven't they?
Yeah, thank you very much. Brian's not going to make his way back to the commentary box. My goodness, we're punishing him this evening. He's back to join John Keir and Dave Woods.
Well, interesting re-entry from both sides of the second half. Hull fairly bounced out, didn't they? Danny Houghton leading them out, and they were ready and waiting for a minute or so before Wigan not sauntered, but looked a little more relaxed as they came out. Determination from the black and whites. Assuredness from those in cherry and white. That's the body language that seemed to be suggested as we get underway in this second half. Just 4 points in it. Wigan 6, Hull 2. Floodlit Rugby League on BBC 2. Back to the Future, John Keir, and it's a cracking cup tie.
It's an outstanding semi-final, it really is, and you know, the outcome, the prize at the end of it really is showing in the determination and drive of the players. I would have suggested to the Hull FC players to use a little more inside plays, because in these greasy conditions you can sometimes wrong foot players that little bit easy. So I thought John Wilkin call at half time to play a little more through was perhaps the way forward rather than trying to go around, especially in these conditions.
And that was Dominic Crosby who made that run. Apologies again to the Crosby family for calling him Busby. Somebody's actually tweeted me a cartoon of the old, but remember the BT Busby from all those years ago? Somebody tweeted one of those at half-time. It was Crosby, not Busby. Hull have the ball for the first time in this second period. Nahev Vanua will put his head down and try to take it forward, and Tumababi down that right-hand side. Houghton, here's Pritchard, and you hear what the two coaches have had to say at half-time in just a moment, but let's see this out here from Hull. Their first set with ball in hand. Pritchard puts it back. Sneed looking for the corner. Tompkins collects it close to his own line, runs it back. There's a little support out there, but he's going to take the tackle 15 metres away from his own line. So Damien Johnson, what has been said from the two teams at half-time?
Well, Lee Radford, the Hull coach, has said that patience is the key. He's told his players that they've had good ball in the first half. They've executed well in their own half, but they must be more clinical near the Wigan line. As for Sean Wayne, the Wigan coach, where we've got the ball, we've got to keep up the pressure. Hull will come at us in the second half. We've shown good defence in the first half. We must keep that up in the second, respect the ball and respect what Hull are going to throw at us.
One move, Mark!
In the second half, Hull are attacking their own end, if you like. That's where their supporters are amassed. Wigan are attacking their end. Does that actually make it? I mean, the coaches before the game were telling us, oh, our fans can cheer us home, and I think all four coaches have said that. Does it actually make a difference, Evan?
No, you've got to cross the goal line at the far end. That's the top and bottom. If you're going to score a try, it can lift you generally, no doubt about that. But I don't think it matters which way you're going to play. And you're going to play one half one way, one half the other.
Play on.
There's no snapshotting going out there, Udsy.
Here's Bateman. Thanks, fellas. Bateman's put down 10 metres away and gets a penalty because too much messing on from Liam Watts. John Keir suggesting that he'd go for 2 points here.
I think it's a tough call myself. I'd like to see it again.
He's going for 2, Matty Smith.
And that's the sensible thing to do. Take it again to the full one score. Bit of a flop, yep. Liam Watts.
If he's done it for the flop, I agree. But
and then straddling him, that's just, again, it's ill discipline, isn't it? And in a vital area of the field and at a vital time, straight after half-time.
Minimal flop and a straddle. It's not often you hear those words in the same sentence.
Minimal flop and a straddle. That's a novel, isn't it?
Line boys!
Be interesting reading. Matty Smith should have this nailed. This to take the lead to 6 points, a try and a goal. And those rather flashy turquoise boots as Matty Smith strolls forward and puts it over, and Wigan lead now by 8 points to 2. So first blow, minimal blow of this second half goes Wigan's way. They lead by 8 points to 2.
They'll be very happy with that from that, will Wigan? Because 4 minutes into the half, they've stretched it to the full 6 points. And it's all start again.
Sneed's kick. Toltai leads the challenge back again. Hull's defence more than a match. Battle 1-1 in this set of 6. Sargison looking left.
Movement mark! Move, Gannon!
There goes Manfredi.
It's in foul, play on.
They've kept Manfredi very quiet though, because they've kicked away from him, Brian, haven't they? It's been very much downturn his wing.
Move, Gannon!
And Manfredi's been out of the game, in all honesty.
I think, I don't know whether it's strategy or not, but
Williams slice past.
I'll just pause briefly there to see what Williams was going to do with the ball there. Yeah, great point that you made, John. I think Tierney's the preferred option for a kicker. They feel he's a less threat than Manfredi, and the fallout of that is what Tierney hasn't got, Tompkins has got.
Matty Smith's kick doesn't travel far, so Hull back in possession, and not unreasonable position. 12 yards or so away from the halfway line, so a chance to build a bit of pressure here. Climb their way back inside the Wigan half. Houghton, Minicello.
He's got good feet for a big man, hasn't he?
Great dig, isn't he?
Great foot.
It's so difficult to line him up for a good defensive shot, and because of that footwork and that urgency to bring the ball back into play, he's won a penalty, and this is going to be a real important set, because the kick from Sneed will go into the corner. It's a great start for this set of 6 for Hull FC.
Looking to square things up with a try and a goal here, Hull. But they've been in similar positions so often before and failed to get over the line. What changes here, if anything? Sneed's quick hands. Yeaman. There's 4 Wigan defenders coming across. So he takes the tackle. There's a Hull player injured. I think it's Sneed who's down injured at the moment. This is Watts, whose pass is untidy, but he gets away with it. Manu with a handoff, and then the charge. That's Sackle through. Houghton, Sneed still being treated. Houghton goes right. Shaw's an option inside for Timovavi if he can get him. Now he can with the offload. Shaw skips away from Mossop. Runs away from Crosby. Gets the pass inside for Ellis. Ellis, that's a great offload. Pritchard with a risky pass that comes off. Manu gets it away. Look at this. Look at it. Stevie Michaels into the corner. They gamble. They twist it. And they have hit Pontoon. Right in the corner, Stevie Michaels. Hull FC with some thrilling hands.
What a fantastic try. And it all came about with that penalty that Minicello won, and that bought the field position. And they did what was suggested, played through, they went back on the inside ball. We lost the support, and that's what got them. But also this penalty. There's Minicello, working so hard to bring the ball back in, wins the penalty. And then although they're up, off it goes, the offload. It's a bit of broken play, but then it's a little bit of an inside ball, and there's been an overchase. They switched off a little on the left-hand side of Wigan, and that's when they almost get through, but it still needed finishing, and it is so by Michaels right in the corner.
Great hands from Hull. Speculative right from the start with Timovavi here. Shaw's nowhere to go, so he runs across the line. Who can I give it to? Dumps it off to Gaz Ellis. Tracks Tautai, he gets rid of it. Frank the Tank, just a speculator. Goes to Sika Manu for Noah. Michaels in the corner, great try.
And the Hull fans finding their voice. Stevie Michaels having a party.
We'll be having two if he scores another. I'll tell you, that was a great try, wasn't it? And I think that's an indication. I think this half's going to be a little bit looser, Brian, because the element of fatigue will start kicking in.
Yeah, and you'd have to think that the athletic individual prowess amongst the Timovavis and the Fanoas and the Minicellos and the Ellises may just prove the balance, but I've been mightily impressed with Wigan. I think their systems, with all these kids in there, are really bringing the fruit home.
So Mark Sneed, who's kicking the first half, by the way, took his Hull FC tally to 400 points. And this is 53rd game with a much difficult kick, but my word, he rattles that home. I think most of us try that kicking style, we end up flat on our faces, but he just keeps getting them in.
That was a great kick. Intense pressure, semi-final. What a lovely try this is. You've got to admire the skill in very greasy conditions to nail that try. And there's the celebration. At last, we've done it. At last, we've broken this defence down. And Sneed simply compounds that by making a 6-pointer from the touchline.
8 points apiece. And timely reminder, golden point, extra time if necessary. But there are 31 big minutes before that happens. In fact, the last semi-final here, Leeds and Castleford, was a golden point extra time, wasn't it? Kevin Sinfield with a penalty very late on. When was that? 2013, was it? 2012?
It was a good semi anyway, and this is a good semi as well.
Sneed, Minicello with a footwork again, and bouncing off Sargison and still going and passes. And here comes Shaw, and Shaw darts into that little pocket that opened up ahead of him, but it closed. Snapshot just as quick. But Hull have got the mood here. Timovavi goes right. It's a bounce by Sika Manu, who's still going. Manu, boy, is he determined. Look at him clambering all over his back, and they only just pull him down eventually. Like Gulliver in a land of Lilliputians. Back it comes again to Sneed. Sneed now. Shaw with a grubber kick through, but Tompkins has missed it. Shaw, has he touched it down? There are about 8,000 in black and white behind the goal line who say try.
No try.
The referee on the field says no try. So let's hear from Robert Hicks, the video ref.
Okay, it's from a kick, so can we check the onside? Obviously, yes please, it's from a kick. So, yeah, I got that, Clint, thank you.
Have you got that?
Okay, yeah, right, okay, so Shaw's going to kick, and front of him, that appears to be Ellis. Okay, we need to run that through on that angle, please, just to see. I just want to check that again if I can, just to check. Manu's in front of the ball. I want to see what Manu does, because he's ahead of the ball because of the break in play. So just that replay again, please, so that I can see what Manu does, who is ahead of the ball. So it's Ellis and Manu who are offside. I think Ellis stays outside the 10. Okay, so Ellis is in front of the ball, as is Manu. I think that is Manu. Just play it on from here, nice and slow, please. Right, so... No, it's now what happens here. Manu could be 10 metres from Sneed. There was no input on that. The line decision was onside. So, can I see it from behind the 6? Have you got anything from behind, just to see the width? So Manu, he stood still, he's not interfering. So okay, I'm okay with the onside. Can I have a look at Shaw, sorry, the knock-on by Tompkins first, just to check it is definitely knock-on by Tompkins. I need to check that that is a knock-on, so it'd be a free play. Okay, so Tompkins hits his hands, goes down, that's a knock-on. So it's a knock-on by Tompkins, so we're on a free play. So can I now just check what happens with Shaw? That one from behind the sticks was a good angle, to be honest. So, okay, so, Shaw, I think that's just a collision by Tompkins, that's play on. So Shaw now has the ball, and then he loses it. So it's 2 knock-ons, it's going to be no try. First knock-on by Tompkins, scrum. Hull head and feed.
So no try, but Hull will get the ball back. Head and ball for Hull. So no try, but they have the second best outcome in that they get another set of 6 to rattle this Wigan line again.
They do, and it looks as if they've upped a gear the last 5 minutes. It really does. There's more force in the carries. They're asking some real questions when they're going back against the grain of the Wigan defence that's pressuring from the inside. You just feel there may well be another score on the immediate horizon for the black and whites.
Well, it's done Wigan a favour, hasn't it? All that checking and cross-checking, because they've got chance to get a bit of oxygen back in their lungs here.
It's not always the case, Dave. I just sometimes relax and think we solved that, we didn't concede the try, and then they come up with the U-Butte play, and they're ready physically, but mentally they're not ready.
Well, let's see if Hull can come up with a U-Butte play then.
Well, there might be a short side play here, I'll tell you.
Say, if they come up with a U-Butte play, it'll be on YouTube before the end of the night, won't it? Here they come, 6 to go from here. Having a go. Fanua is the first. That has been an increasingly common pattern, isn't it? Hull players captured but not stopped. And here's another big fellow, Watts, and he's again striding up the ground. Wigan defenders are having to work twice as hard to stop the Hull players from moving forward. Sneed puts it back. Shaw with a direct pass. Yeeman couldn't quite roll around the defender. Freely did his job. Sneed again. Pritchard with the soft hands. They're going across the line. Tunavavi looking for an angle. Fanua dragged down by the ankles again. Some really impressive Wigan defending at the moment. Williams it was on that last occasion. Pritchard again, battering forward.
Wow, they're asking some questions here, Hull. All being answered.
How much fuel have Wigan got left in the tank? Here comes the 6th. Manu gets the ball away. Are they going to go down with possession? Not if they can help it. Sneed again. Now he puts the kick to the corner. Manfredi's underneath it. It's a ball. He's dropped it. He's dropped it. And it's still by Fatuli Talanoa. All he had to do was catch it, and the problem was solved. But he's dropped it, and Wigan's problems have just doubled if it's given. He says try on the field. He says try on the field, but we need another video referee here.
Need to give a try.
So Robert Hicks, have a look again.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So we're checking onside, offside. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, the winger toe. So we're just checking to see the winger, but we need to check from the kick. So if we can pause it on the foot, and then have a look to see if we can see anybody who's in front of the kicker. The live decision is a try. So Sneed has the ball, he's going to kick the ball. Kicks it. Everybody in the shop there looks to be onside. Can't quite see beyond that. Have we got anything that might show? Is that the widest? I walk back from behind the post. Does that show any other? Does anything show the winger? This is the winger we're looking at. Everyone else looks onside. We can't see the winger. The live decision's a try. He's not in shot there. And that's. Are they the only two angles we've got? Okay. I've got nothing that disproves it, so can I check the grounding now, please? Because that's just the end of the process. Okay. Right, he's onside. He's onside off that. The live decision was a try, so he is onside. So, just need to check the grounding, please. Off this Wigan man, picked up, grounded, try. Check this one as well. In his hands, try. There's the decision, it's a try.
The flow of the game is changing. It's all going black and white at the moment. Hull have the lead for the very first time.
And you have to say it's been about the pressure and the ball carrying of the individual prowess, and the off-leg game they've gone into Hull have been too much pressure for Wigan. They scrambled and they stressfully defended their own line, and then Sneed came up with a speculator that you'd expect Manfredi to take every day of the week, but he clean spills it, so they're pounding the line. They've got Fanoa and Talanoa, and it's Talanoa in the end that's the recipient of this spilled ball by Dominic Manfredi, and he won't get an easier one than that tonight. But that's all about the stress and pressure that Hull have been putting on Wigan.
And Brian, what part of a wingman's job is maintaining concentration when you are being overworked, and I think he just lacked that bit of concentration. Manfredi, he'd catch that 19 times out of 20, but he spilled it in the most important game of his life.
Well, that'll have cheered the kid up. Here's Sneed. 12-8 at the moment. Starts it left, drifts it in. The chance of Sneed goes up again. It's 8 for Wigan, it's 14 for Hull. It's for Tuli Talanoa, the man that his coach Lee Raffer calls a front row winger. The big fella has touched down.
Well, if there's going to be one way this whole team is going to get over the line tonight, it's going to be with all of these supporters. There are only about loads of people in the stadium. They've got about, I have to say, about 2/3 of the stadium.
One, move on! Wait here, guys.
Robbie might have been distracted there where the company was keeping.
Wait! Go.
Old Faithful rattles out again.
Well, the point is, Dave, about Manfredi, yes, it won't have cheered him up that, but true champions, you know, they come up and they can cope with that, and they come up with a big play after. And let's see if he can do that. But at the minute, Hull FC are just dominating proceedings. Wigan just need the ball. And you wonder, Brian, as well, how much energy that first half took out of the Wigan Warriors with such a great defensive effort.
Well, I just think it's more about what maybe Coach Radford said to his troops, because they look more energised, more vigorous in the ball carry. They're pumping their legs when they're in there. They watch the big man, and I just think Wigan just need to have a bit of patience. Next 5 minutes, get themselves into the arms, get themselves into the rhythm, and they've got plenty in the tank left because they're young and they're athletic. It just might be a bit stressful now they've gone behind.
2 movement! Yeah. Play on, Joe. 3, move!
So Wigan,
they need a big play, Dave, I'll tell you, the Warriors, just to turn this Hull FC tide.
Smith. Here's Bateman. Five gone. Here comes the last. Williams threatens to, well, he threatened to kick it, tried to run it, everyone had run past him, and the ball goes to ground. It's a handover.
That's a big defensive play from Hull. Williams has took them on there and boom! Hooch! That would have hurt him as well, but he's a tough kid. Last play, decided to run the ball, hasn't come off.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was the right decision there. I think it would have been better perhaps putting it in the air to Talanoa and asking Manfredi to right the wrong.
Still 26 minutes, 25 minutes left in this game. It's a long way from being over. But it is Hull in the ascendancy at the moment.
It's just carries like that from Taylor, the ball carry, you know, the metres after contact is just taking a little bit of juice out of this Wigan team.
Yeaman. Kurt Yeaman, 32 years of age, 3 Challenge Cup finals with Hull FC. 16th season here, Kurt Yeaman.
Line here. Quick rooks, guys. Wait here. Go.
There's the kick from Sneed again. Tompkins underneath this. Bags it safely. Manfredi to his right. Here he is, Don Manfredi. Brushing away the first attempt by Minicello, but finding 2 more coming at him.
Wait here. Don't go early. Go. Look inside.
Sargison. He's got a strapped nose at the moment.
There's some tired Wigan bodies, you know, out there. You can tell it's taking them some time to regroup and get behind the ball after the kick.
Williams going left. Gildart going nowhere. Penalty though, penalty, cheap penalty for Hull to give away.
That is a cheap one as well. 5 plays and in the ascendancy, and this is a leg up for Wigan.
Well, it's on the knife edge of the tie, isn't it? You know, Hull in the ascendancy, but it's only a try and a goal, and it all changes again here.
I'm thinking golden point, me here.
Are you? You're thinking of the overtime, aren't you? Oh, we've got a bad injury here. We've got a bad injury because instantly the reaction on the field.
Let's just give space, guys.
It's for Noah, isn't it?
Concern from the coach, Lee Radford. Just puts his head in the wrong place there, doesn't he? Mahi Fanoa.
It's good to see. Good to see all the medics out there, isn't it, so quickly with the prompt attention, because I'm certain this will be a head injury assessment. No doubt about that. He got his head in the wrong side for the tackle, and he just seemed to knock the kid out. And
I have to give a rap to rugby league at the moment. My era growing up and your era, John, it was get on with it, son, and this is brilliant. The medical attention that the players that they get now,
and this is the right procedure. 15 minutes to assess them. And here's Williams there with try number 1, which gave Wigan the lead. And then that tremendous offload try, but he's kept the ball alive, and it ended up with Michaels crossing in the corner before Sneed put the ball up, and you'd say Manfredi would catch that 19 times out of 20. It's a stone cold drop, and Talanoa took advantage to put Hull FC 14 points to 8 up.
So a concern here for the Tongan, Mahi Fanoa. One of those who was new to the side this year, having arrived from Melbourne in the off-season. He's pulled his weight, hasn't he?
Oh, he's been very good. You see there, he's technically right shoulder hit. His head should have been the other side, and you can see with his arms that it looks like he'd been knocked out before it hit the ground.
Well, there's some movement there, which is always reassuring, of course, but they will not take any risks. They'll give him all the due medical care and attention. Less serious is the injury that Dan Sargentson is carrying at the moment. There's a fashion piece that John Wilkin, I think, first introduced back
a series
in the day.
about that guy, one the Elephant Man, wasn't it?
Damien Johnson, what's going on there with this?
He's got a badly broken nose, Dan Sargentson. It's a nasty one, according to the doctor. He's manipulated it back into position to allow him to breathe a little bit more easily. But he's a hard man. He wants to stay out there. Look at that.
I said about our medical practices there, Woods. He's broke his snoz there, and there's blood everywhere. But so proud that we're involved in a game where they just get on with it, don't they? Just get on with it. What do you think, JK?
The
great athletes.
Yeah, the players' psyche is tremendous, and sometimes you have to protect them from themselves. And I think that was one of the reasons this 15-minute concussion sort of assessment takes place, where they remove the player from the field of play, and the doctor's got 15 minutes to check that there's no problem. If that's the case, he can go back out there. If it's not the case, he's kept off the field for the rest of the game.
And we heard the. Well, just a quick reminder of what's happening tomorrow. Warrington against Wakefield tomorrow. We're on air at 2 o'clock, by the way. The other semi-final, this Ladbrokes Challenge Cup semi-final series. The Challenge Cup final on August 29th. And what about this fella? What about that fella in the stands? Billy Boston. One of the great wingers of all time. 1950s and 60s for Wigan.
Yeah,
he was a tough one as well, wasn't he?
He's a great player. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's been inducted into the Wales Rugby League Hall of Fame as well at a dinner last January. And there was himself and Gus Risman, the first two to be inducted.
Josh Charnley, not playing tonight because of suspension.
Carl Hall and his Doncaster team that play here will like an atmosphere like this every week, wouldn't it? Wouldn't they? How good would that be? And the things he's done for rugby league in here and this stadium, wow.
Let's have a look at those tackles here tonight. Danny Houghton, as you can see, there always leads the lines, doesn't he? Before tonight began, he'd pulled off 1,017 tackles in Super League. Leading tackler by a distance, but young Sam Powell has more than matched him tonight.
Yeah, well, they've had a lot of work to do because possession has been in Hull's favour, territory's been in Hull's favour, and they've really had to work so hard defensively to just keep in this game.
Do you think this break takes the sting out of what Hull were doing, JK?
It could do, it could do.
Yeah, he will not want to be
that's
reminded
given them the lead, and very happy indeed. I think that gentleman, and I think the crowd behind were a little impressed.
By the way, a big shout out. I know we get a lot of viewers across this country, but around the world as well, and I've been asked to give a big shout out to the Chicago Stockyarders Rugby League, who apparently are watching at the moment on Fox Soccer Plus. Not sure what time of the day it is in Chicago, beautiful city. But the North American scene is looking good at the moment, Brian Noble. You're involved in the Toronto side.
Yes, and we're
who are playing in English Rugby League next year.
Yeah, Toronto Wolfpack, a massive expansion for the game, and everybody's very enthusiastic out there. 2,000 or 3,000 season tickets sold already to watch our great game, and there is a 13-team comp in North America at the moment, and we should embrace that. And so to the brothers over in North America, we're on our way. You're going to see the greatest game of all, and played in the right way. It's absolutely got legs.
I had one, there's Leon Price. Will he be joining you next year?
No,
he's not one.
No, we're doing a 6-week trip around North America, trialling the overspills of, from the athletes that don't quite make the professional grade over there as part of a telly show. We're going to a couple of Greyhound buses, and we're going to Detroit, and we're going to Chicago and Boston and Ottawa and Montreal, and we're going to give some contracts out at the end of it, so we're really excited about that. I'm really excited about the talent that we might unearth. I hope somebody like him there on the screen can get us there.
And you've made 1 or 2 signings already. I had one Super League chairman telling me that he wanted to sign a certain player next year, was actually outbid by the Toronto Wolfpack. So you've got serious intentions.
Absolutely. I have to say that the board of directors and the CEO, as we see Fanola being carried from the field here with generous round of applause, are absolutely serious about making this a success and spreading the gospel that we believe of rugby league.
Great to see as well the Wigan fans there joining in with the Hull FC fans and applauding the efforts of Fanoa, which have been very, very good today. And it'll be interesting now, as you rightly say, it's been a long hold up, but rightly so. But how will both teams react now?
Just remind you before the break, Hull in the ascendancy, looking on top, leading as they still do, of course, by 14 points to 8. But Wigan now, there's a thumbs up from my Fanoa to tell the Hull fans, I'm okay, they're looking after me, and I'll be okay. Might not be coming back tonight, but I'm okay. So Wigan with 4 tackles still to go in this particular set. Joe Bretherton, the youngster, is on the field, the 20-year-old. He's a very recent involvement. Tompkins now, looking to open things up with that running style of his. O'Loughlin puts the kick to the in-goal area. It's just going to dribble down. Tierney chasing it, but the frustration, it was so close.
Yes, so near that one. Some good play from Tompkins. Could understand O'Loughlin's decision, but he just didn't execute the skill just quite well enough there.
It gives Hull a free 20 metres. I've been tempted to maybe play the last couple of plays out there, John.
I would agree with you. They've had so little territory, haven't they, Wigan, that they really need to try to camp on the whole line just to build some pressure instead of absorbing it.
It's a very, very decent carry by Chris Green. Ellis. A couple of tackles to go. 20 minutes still to play. To Mavavi. Put the afterburners on a little, but they cut to hold it in desperately so, but it's another penalty. That was the 5th tackle. And they've given away a penalty at the very worst point, and Danny Houghton immediately tells the referee, we're going to go for 2 here, ref, because these 2 points might be enough to win us the game.
Yeah, I'm with Danny Houghton there, Woodsy.
Yep.
Sneed's been kicking them over with his eyes shut. I'll probably put the jinx on him now, but in a game like this, it gives them 2 scores. They've had an injury break.
But it's the carry, isn't it? Right. Tremendous carry again by Tumavavi. It forces Flower to illegally try to slow the play the ball down. And again, as Dave Woods pointed out, tackle 5. My word. That's a heartbreaker.
So Mark Sneed settling the ball on the tee. Averaging over 4 points a game since his signing from Castleford a couple of years ago. Played in that final, of course, for Castleford in 2014, part of that side that really made us open our eyes and be dazzled by Classy Cass.
I remember him getting substituted in that game really early on in the game. Everything's going right for him tonight. Nothing went right for him that day.
He's certainly settled into this whole team this year, hasn't he? Real fans' favourite. He'll be elevated in that favouritism if he gets this. Oh, he does. He does. The flags are up. Sneed's penalty, 4 out of 4, 100% kicking tonight. 16 points to 8. Wigan have to score twice in the last 20 minutes, and in a low-scoring semi-final, that's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy because the possession that Hull have dominated will ensure they've got plenty of energy to defend their own line, should they be called upon to do that. If Wigan snatch this, I'll tell you, it'll be one of the fight-backs of all semi-final times.
So Hull bringing it forward without Mahe Fanoa, and Damien, I think you've got news on his injury down there.
Yes, we saw a fantastic response from the medical team here. He's been taken to the medical room for Nua. He's been seen to by a doctor and a paramedic. He's in a neck brace. He was out cold, as you saw. He came round, gave a thumbs up to the Hull supporters. No talk of the hospital yet, but he looks in reasonable shape.
That's lost. Knock on by Eamon.
And that's what Wigan wanted. That's possibly the leg up that Wigan needed. But they need to form the scrum in the correct place. Great defence there. forces the error. And now at long last the time's off.
Real squeezing tackle from Bateman, wasn't it, to make that happen?
They just, I know this sounds crazy in a really high intensity, really high emotional game, and they just need a bit of clarity with it, because I think they've got the game where they can get themselves back into this.
Williams goes left to Tompkins, and Tompkins skipping back on the inside again. Ellis is there. Makes the tackle. Sutton. Ryan Sutton. Sam Powell. McLaughlin just to his right, but he goes to Williams, and Smith again throws it back, and Tompkins has to reach, and while he does, out comes that wily reader of attacking plays again. Yeaman gets a hold. McLaughlin, Isa left, and Gildart. Couple of tackles to go here. Wigan 10 metres away. O'Loughlin running it in hard. So last play in this set anyway. Oh, it's very untidy, and the referee says penalty. And again, it's a fifth tackle penalty.
Yeah, well, they've got to just now forget about goal kicks, tap the ball, just build some pressure. You never know how a try might occur. It might be a ricochet, might be a lucky kick, might be a barge over, but just stay up there and work to make something happen.
Bateman, 5 metres away, 4 tackles to go, spinning it left. O'Loughlin goes large and long. Tierney patches it, but he had to stop his run to make the catch. So Hull's defenders were out to meet him. They're getting frustrated here.
Yeah, Wigan need numbers in motion, they really do.
Williams skipping away, dummying, and then to Sutton. That's the fifth. Here comes the last. Bateman's at dummy half. He's going to go himself here. Bateman realises it closes up. Smith puts the kick in. That's going nowhere. Hull have possession, and Hull survive the moment of drama.
Yeah, that's the element of composure. I'm sure that's what Coach Sean Wayne is saying. It needed to be a structured last tackle play, really. A go-to play that they've been comfortable with all season.
The whole defence was magnificent as well, because Bateman's hard to stop from there. It's hard to criticise him if he sees a hole that he thinks he can get through. But probably looking for a kick play was Coach Wayne. We'll give credit to Hull's defence.
Here's Houghton, 17 minutes to go. To Mavavi, skipping and getting a good pass away, and suddenly there's a marvellous opportunity. Shaw goes wide, Michaels dragged down from behind, great recovery from the Wigan defence. It's the last play, out it comes to Houghton, spins it along, Sneed now, up to the line, cuts back inside, Ellis down the middle, chopped down, and he'll have to hand it over, 5 yards out from the Wigan line.
Well, they've had great success at Hull with inside plays, haven't they? It was the inside play that
Sneed's claiming it was a trip.
Yeah, it is. But both plays there that almost ripped them open. Shaw's at first. It was an inside ball. Tumavami took it out of the line. He's got support on the inside. That's where they went through. Great support here, and credit as well to the scramble from Gildart and Tompkins. They seem to do it all day.
So Hull have got Wigan on the heels again here, but Wigan looking to punch their way out of trouble. Did that get a touch on the whole player? It was a half-hearted shot for another set there, I think, from one of the Wigan players. Loughlin spinning it back to the middle. Ellis again putting that left shoulder in.
He's leading by the front, this Gaz Ellis, isn't he? The last 3 tackles he's been involved in.
Smith to Bateman. They've already got to tackle 4. They're still very deep inside their own half, so Matty Smith knows that they need a clearance. Reined in by Steve Michaels. Over the 20. But not much further.
Tumavavi's had a reasonable game on the court. He's got a couple of breaks. He's been incisive down the right-hand side. He's been a perfect foil for Mark Sneed. He's
I think he's certainly justified Coach Lee Ratford's decision to pick him in that position.
Move, Sean! Back 80!
Houghton.
Move, John!
Heavy duty work down the middle here by Hull.
So physical though, the Hull FC side, so big and physical and relentless they've been tonight.
Sam, I need you quicker in this look, come on.
Sixth is the next.
Don't worry, wait, go.
They go to the boot. Just a clever kick through again. Game management, to use the modern expression that everybody seems to love.
It was a clever shank, I think you'll find there. I think he mishit it, but I mean, he wanted it to go there and he did all the things, but look at the spin on the ball. And
I think it might have been outside foot, Brian. Yeah, well, they practice that, don't they? So it's in Jamie Soward do 1 or 2 for the London Broncos. And
not in my books they don't. Get the pit boots on and just leather it. That's called dexterity with the foot, isn't it? You can't have that.
Look at the fans. They think they're going to Wembley, David.
Well, they think they're going. They think they're going.
And I think more importantly, the blocks on the field think they're going, but that won't help them. First tackle penalty.
Still 14 minutes left to play.
Wigan just need to inject some energy into the game. They look really tired, as if all this defensive work has taken its toll.
Here's Tortai, a man who can make an impact down the middle.
One move, Danny!
Well, they have to score twice, remember, Wigan now. They have to score twice. We've got a second ball on the field at the far side.
Well, they've had 17 more tackles on the seat of Wigan to me. That's virtually 3 sets, and it drains you.
Lachlan to Smith. Here's Bateman. Tompkins. Williams. Gildart, he's going to have a dash and a dart from dummy half. It's Tompkins again here. Lachlan to Smith. And Sargison. His football got him past the first danger there, but he couldn't quite recover to get it any further than that. Bateman again.
The hunting, this Hull FC defence, they are hunting.
Last tackle again. Matty Smith with the kick, and it's a take. And Timur Barbie always lost it in the tackle. Wigan have it back, another set of 6. Sutton, what about out for a pass from a prop forward?
Well, it's a free play, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a free play.
Yep. And there's the kick. Tompkins is chasing. Hits the post. It's anybody's. Eventually it's out of play.
Come down. Yeah.
And they'll go back to the original knock-on. And go for a knock-on.
Yep.
Scrum down for Wigan.
Yes. Again, good tackle underneath the ball. Force the error. And this was worth doing there. Clever little kick from Williams. Almost paid off for Tompkins. I think the lack of energy in Wigan there does just one chaser. 5 Hull FC defenders round the ball, just one Wigan chaser. And that might be an indication of fatigue.
This is a massive set of 6, isn't it? Massive here. If Wigan can get a score back here, the game is wide open again. If Hull hold out, then their confidence soars a little higher. There's the first effort from Bateman. Sargison shifts it to Smith, and now Tortai rattling it forward again.
Move on the line.
Sir Powell stands and waits. 4 tackles in the set to go. Williams, Isa, back to Williams. Searching desperately. O'Loughlin. 3 tackles gone.
Pushing forward. Play on. He's pushing forward. 3.
Referee says play on. Bateman again. Bateman takes 4 defenders. Dragged towards him to stop his determined effort to make the line. 2 tackles to go. Sargison to O'Loughlin. Here's Sutton. It's like a bowling ball racing in, but it's another set of 6. It's another penalty.
What was that one for?
Right there. No. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Let's just be very careful. He's stepped. We caught him high. Let's keep the tackles lower.
High tackle.
Okay, back here, guys.
Is there even a temptation to go for 2 here? That puts them within striking range.
No, they need a lift. They need an energy lift. And the energy lift will only come if they cross that whitewash.
Tortai.
Well, move, Chris! Jamie, get on the line!
Put down. Another 5 tackles for Hull to survive. These are heroic moments, aren't they? These are moments when cup ties are won and lost, when energy levels are drained. But from somewhere, you have to find something. Either with the ball or without. Smith, oh, Tompkins! Has he knocked on?
No.
Went backwards, Bayman then tried to click it over the top. And was that a little bit of a rush of blood to his brain?
Definitely. It's play 3. It got away, there wasn't a knock on, it did go backwards. Oh, gosh. Who'd play in semi-final?
Yeah, well, you live or die by your decisions, don't you? If you're going to kick on tackle 3, Brian, you've got to come up with something. I think the ref got that right. Went backwards.
Me too.
Just lack of composure there.
But Wigan are not giving up their position, and Hull are not out of trouble just yet, because this is a very big effort in defence now from Wigan. 4 tackles gone and Hull restricted to a bare minimum. That'll help.
But what you've got to realise is Sneed can stick this ball 60 metres and it's all to no avail.
Here he comes. Big boot, but it's straight to Tompkins. So he should return it to at least the 40-metre mark, maybe beyond. Oh, he's up to the halfway line and he's got the pass away to Gildart. And Gildart skips away from 1 tackle, runs towards the middle and looks for support. Can't find it just yet, but Wigan are back there.
What a game. What scrambling defence as well from Hull.
Right back where they've been for what seems like an eternity now. Sargison. Manfredi inside for Smith. And Sutton just winds himself up. Powell out of dummy half. Smith carries it in. Williams, the numbers are there! And they've got the try through Willie Isa. Hull's defence finally bridged. This semi-final is not over yet. Not by a long way.
What a game we've got here. Absolutely fantastic entertainment, with 2 sets of players who are giving absolutely everything in their quest for Wembley. They start with the kick return. Tremendous work from Tompkins, pushing up from Gildart. That's the bit of play that injected the energy into the Wigan Warriors. Then later in the tackle count, we've got a good moving dummy half play. The ball shifted there, and Williams, a perfect pass there to Willie Isa, sucked the defender out of the defensive line, and over Isa goes into the gap.
Well, Powell, Smith and Williams, the pivots, get Isa over the line. Probably Isa thought he was going to try and get himself there, but that's a great score from Wigan on the back of relentless pressure. 2 play, 5 penalties, a knock on, an error by Tumavavi. That's just weight of numbers and weight of pressure and weight of this semi-final.
How much is George Williams coming of age in this semi-final? Big game, big expectations. He's really delivered tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I think all the players out there have delivered a few brain explosions, but you have to say that Williams has been special for Wigan, along with Sam Tompkins has done some great things. Remember, he was his start there that got Gildart through the line. But so have Hull. We've been waxing lyrical about Hull this last 20 minutes.
Hats off to the unbreakable spirit that Wigan have shown to get themselves back. Oh, has he put it wide? Yes, he has. He's put it wide. Well, it is not absolutely devastating a miss, because trying a goal still win. They still had to score a try probably to win the game, but now they could have been within a goal kicking, a penalty of taking the game into golden point.
Well, psychologically that changes everything. We're going to have to keep playing now, because they need to get over the chalk with a try, and Hull will feel out of a little bit of a let-off, I feel.
Stay behind, boys.
Well, 8 minutes left, 4 points in it, prize on offer, a Challenge Cup final at Wembley.
8 minutes to go. Who is going to Wembley Stadium in late August? Well, we knew it was going to take a very special effort from one side or the other to get through this particular semi-final. It's taken a very special effort by two sides so far. Is there a winning moment still to come, or do Hull hang on from here?
They're good yards though. They're good early tackle yards there to the halfway. Tackle 4.
That's Sutton. 10 yards inside Hull territory. Bateman, who looked out on his feet not that long ago. Oh, he's lost it. Lost it. Well, Minicello would suggest he should have been allowed to play on there. Tackle completed, and then the ball was lost. That's what the referees decided.
I'm just about to say on commentary for Hull, don't rely on your defence. And what do? I mean, it comes up with the error of what I'm saying. In your mindset, if you're going to try and beat the game out and rely on your defence, it's... Was he? Yeah, I think he dropped that.
He did drop that. It's the physicality of this Hull side, isn't it? When they carry the ball, there's meters after contact, and it's really hard work to put them to ground. And when they defend, the big men, they bend the back, they hit with the shoulder. Every collision is draining against this physically massive Hull FC team.
We've said it before, we'll say it again. Yeah, because the tackle's completed. Floodlit Rugby League on BBC Two. What's
Great,
not to like?
Colourful, exciting.
Wait there, guys. Stay on. Fine, guys. Stay there, Matty. Fine properly as we've been doing. Stay.
Sneed's feed. Hull know that they don't have to score again.
Last one. Move, Sean.
And that was my point before, Woodsy. I'm thinking, just don't rely on your defence. You know, like sit back, and you still got to play and offer something towards Wigan so that they don't just get into that, well, we're going to have another crack here. We know we'll get the ball.
Here's Watts, Liam Watts, dragging himself over that halfway line. One of 5 Hull players who played for Hull in the last time they were in a Wembley Cup final, who are playing here tonight. You can add Scott Taylor to that list, but he was playing for Wigan that day. Houghton running out from dummy half. No value in the drop goal at all here, so they're going to try and kick towards the corner to Mabavi. Well, he's just under-paddled that, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, but
it over the top.
It wasn't the best end of the set, but I'll tell you what, you'd have settled for Wigan playing the ball 8 metres from their own line. You really would.
6 minutes to go. Plenty of time. Wigan will have the ball in their hands. Here's Powell. Running hard by O'Loughlin again. He has the ability to hit one of those long passes as well, but not on that occasion. Williams. Oh, the ball squeezes free. Minicello runs after this. Minicello to win the cup tie. Minicello underneath the sticks. But there's a big but. It's got to be a video referee here. It's got to be a video referee, because for my money he knocked on as he picked it up.
I agree with you totally. I think Williams dropped the ball backwards, and I think Minicello's knocked the ball forward, but we'll soon find out.
Well, I think he said try on the field, hasn't he? I think he said try. Let's hear from the video referee.
So, see what happens on the offload first. Okay, so here we go. So, comes out on impact and goes behind him. Oh, that looks like that hits Minicello's hand. Have you got anything from the other side on that? So that's come out on impact and it's gone behind him. It's not hit a Hull player. So yeah, and that's then hit Minicello's hand. So it's going to be a no try, and it's going to be scrum down, Wigan head and feed. Up near to the Challenge Cup logo, Ben.
It's not finished yet. It's not finished yet. No try.
On the Challenge Cup logo.
5 minutes to go. Wigan's head and feet here.
From down, Wigan ball.
So for the majority of the time they have the ball here, John, they will be inside the Hull half.
They will, yes, and that's the correct decision. Not about that, that's the correct decision.
Went back, yeah, and then Mark Minuto's knocked off.
Whole fans furious because they felt they should have had Adam feet at the scrum. I don't think they would have argued about this, the try. But again, absolutely the right decision from the officials' teams.
Wait there,
as Robert as he explained, it came out on impact and went backwards. And then Minicello knocked on, attempting to pick the ball up.
Get in. Back up.
Wow. The nerves are tingling here.
Movement!
What a game.
Two sets of fans who can barely look.
Well, it's no wonder the teams are tired, you know. It's tiring watching this, isn't it? It's so nerve-wracking.
We'll do it all again tomorrow, of course. Warrington against Wakefield. They're sitting wherever they are, hotel rooms, their own homes, watching on tonight, nervous about what they've got ahead of them tomorrow. Well, that'll be a cup tie. Warrington-Wakefield, this is very much a cup tie. Here's Williams, Gildart.
Move!
Tierney. Here's O'Loughlin. Matty Smith, Tompkins. Tompkins with a kick. Manfredi's chasing after this. Oh, he waved a hand at it, but he's...
Time off.
Oh, hang on.
Time off. We've got a 20-metre restart.
20-metre restart.
Yeah, just check.
They're just checking this. It's not a try they're looking for here. They're just having a look to see how they restart here.
It's not an actual try decision, but it's just the 2 replays. Okay. Live it looked right, so okay. Nobody's touched the ball.
Into the corner there, and there's a good chase from
Still in the field of play. Still in the field of play. It's touched the floor. It's a 20-metre restart. Go with your decision.
Wait there, please. Danny! Dan, wait there! Back on.
So here
Surrender!
we go again.
Stand! That's tackle 1. Go.
By the way, if you're tuning in to watch the Clare Balding Meets show tonight, chatting to a couple of Olympians, that will now be shown on Tuesday night at 10 p.m. We're staying with this. And I'm sure Claire won't mind, I'm sure she's watching and enjoying every moment of this. But the Clare Balding Meets show that should be on after us will now be on Tuesday night at 10 p.m. We're not peeling our eyes from this.
Well, sometimes rugby league's won on skill, but I'll tell you what, this game is going to be closed out or won by Wigan on the will and the desire to get over the line and get that prize.
Tortai put down right down the middle. 3.5 minutes to go. Smith again. Tompkins, Sargison, flattened. Playing with a broken nose, to remind you. Manfredi back to the middle. Smith, oh, it's O'Loughlin. His pass
forward, is it?
Shows an element of fatigue there. Gildart picks up and bustles in again.
Movement!
2 tackles for Hull to survive. 2 tackles for Wigan to have a real go again. Williams dribbles the kick through, wants to do it in 1, and he's forced another set. Michaels goes dead. It's a drop out underneath the sticks.
Well, they'll take the time, will the black and whites of Hull FC? They really will. Still in the melting pot. Less than 3 minutes to go.
Well, the referee stopped the clock here.
And all of a sudden the possession's gone back towards Wigan. And that might be why they look more energised. That might be why the building pressure. I'll tell you, the prize is big.
Back on.
Well, never mind possession and position. It's all about heart and soul, isn't it, at this stage of the game? Who's got the bigger hearts to see the job through?
One movement!
Tortai put down. Powell picks up from dummy half. Dummies to Bateman, takes it on again. They're within striking range. And 4 tackles to probe and prod. Smith throws a loose pass. They've lost a bit of ground. Tierney loses the ball. Backwards. Backwards. So they've lost ground. Tompkins. Sutton. He's lost it. Knock on, knock on. 2 minutes to go. Wigan will rush here to pack down and stop the clock, I'm sure. But it's in Hull's hands now.
It really is. You've no doubt Hull FC will be a very, very conservative set. It'll be a very slow set. And I've no doubt the ball will be kicked out of bounds. The last tackle. This is a very, very important defensive play from Danny Houghton. Once again assisted by Gareth Ellis. Ball lost in the tackle. Hull FC, head and feed.
Boys, come on, let's bang, please. Time's still up, let's bang. Come on. Wait there, please. Sammy, head in. Wait there, Mike, kill time, Matt.
The clock starts as soon as the ball is in the scrum. Yeaman, his ambitions are minimal. Keep the ball right at the top of them. This is Talanoa running the clock down. Wigan should get the ball back. Should get the ball back. There's enough time for them to have at least another 2, maybe 3, 4 tackles here, depending on how well Hull manage this.
Yeah, and how well they finish it. Game management essential once again.
Ellis.
4. Movement! Stand square.
Halfway. Houghton goes right. Hull are on to tackle 5. They wanted a penalty. Here comes the 6. Sneed wants the touchline, finds the touchline. How quickly do Wigan get together here? How quickly before the referee stops the clock? Now.
Yeah, they'll have a full
55 seconds for a Challenge Cup semi-final to be won or lost, John Keir.
It certainly is, and you can understand Sneed's decision there. He's had a tremendous game tonight, rolling over the sideline. They tried to eat the clock up through putting it out of bounds, but there's still a full set to defend. And for me, that man there, Mark Sneed, has really achieved a great deal tonight.
They're trying to sing them home. But there's a bit of physical work on the field to be done as well. Hull FC are 5 tackles away from Wembley. Wigan are now 50 yards away from rescuing the game. O'Loughlin, Williams, Gildart with a kick and a chase. It's all on this. Shaw picks it up, is put behind the dead ball line. So it's a dropout. How long before the referee stops the clock here?
Well, the touch judges have to get into position. It's to signal the outcome. Get into position.
20 seconds. Man of the match, John, quickly.
Yeah, well, for me, it's got to go to the Hull FC number 7. I think Minicello's had a tremendous game. Gareth Ellis had. But for me, Mark Sneed, with his kicking in the general play and with his goal kicking also, and how he's controlled the game, he deserves to be taking his team on the road to Wembley.
But there are still 20 seconds for someone to potentially write their name into their club's legend. That's a huge kick from Sneed. That's exactly what his side wanted. So a couple of tackles at most here. Sutton takes it in. This will be the last play of the game, unless we can score. It's a knock-on! It's a knock-on! And Hull rejoice! Black and white all over. It's been wholehearted from both sides, but it's Hull FC who are going to Wembley for the Ladbrokes Challenge Cup final.
What a magnificent game of rugby league that was. Both teams have absolutely given everything. I do think over the fullness of the 80 minutes, probably the results just right. It's been a close game. Hull FC just shaded it. They had a real purple patch after half-time when they built that lead. But my word, those Wigan Warriors can be proud of their efforts. They hung in there, they came back, and it's just been a classic semi-final of the Ladbrokes Challenge Cup.
Well, the difference on the scoreboard has been minuscule, but the difference in emotions is immeasurable. From the sheer delight of those in black and white, they're on their way to Wembley, and the absolute crushing disappointment of those in cherry and white, who know how close they came and yet were denied that prize. Let's hear from the man of the match, Mark Sneed, who's down there with Damian Johnson.
Yes, just receiving his man of the match, bubbly from Ladbrokes. Mark, let me just interrupt you for a second. You're in the Challenge Cup final. How does that feel?
Unbelievable. Put that down. Yeah, I'm absolutely just speechless, to be fair. The effort towards that back end was unbelievable. To be able to defend that against Wigan's just Amazing, yeah.
What did the manager say, the coach say at half-time? Because you had to come from behind to win it and dig deep.
Yeah, we kind of knew our defence can hold out against good attacks anyway. We've got a great defence, so it was just a case of keeping patient, not getting a bit carried away and panicking, and obviously it paid off, got a couple of tries.
Were there moments when you thought it wasn't going to be your day, so many efforts disallowed after a video ref decision?
Maybe a little bit, yeah, but we all kept our composure and we played outstanding together, worked for each other, and yeah, buzzing.
Well, congratulations, the Ladbrokes man of the match. Enjoy the final. Lee Radford is with us. Lee, the winning coach, just congratulating Mark. Lee, how does it feel? You're in the final.
Yeah, really pleased, really pleased. Obviously, not a great deal between the two sides. I think I said it obviously before we started, but you know, it really was who wanted it the most towards that back end. I just felt, you know, we had that little bit extra.
It must have been the talk of your life at half-time, wasn't it, as a coach?
We spoke about that special play because there was nothing in between the two teams, and somebody's going to come up with it, and somebody's going to be responsible for not coming up with it. And it was really important that we found it, and you know, on a couple of occasions there, we'd done that.
I have to ask you, concern about Mahe Fanua, how is he?
I don't know. We'll get a report on him. It didn't look great, did it? So, no, we'll have a look at that in a minute and see how he is.
And of course, the statistic's going to come up. You've never won at Wembley. That old chestnut. Chance to put that right now, make a bit of history.
Look, I want to wrong that right. I really, really do. I want to get this fixed up. Put an end to that song, that's for sure.
Lee, congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Gareth Ellis is coming in. Gareth, the winning captain. You've been to Wembley and lost before. You've got another chance now at the age of 35.
Yeah, I know. You sometimes think that these opportunities are not going to come, but you know, we've been outstanding all year, and I thought we were outstanding tonight. If we've been a bit critical, probably not clinical enough in that first half, but the effort the boys showed, particularly in defence on our own trial, was absolutely outstanding.
It was a bruising encounter. You looked out on your feet at the end, all of you.
Yeah, we were. Like I said, the effort was unbelievable. You know, we had a lot of work to do. Wigan are a top side, and they really put you under the pump, and we had to do it tough tonight, and I thought we stood up to it.
What kind of advert was that for the game of rugby league?
Well, it was about toughness, or it was about, you know, working out when you're tired, or that's what it felt like from me anyway. But I just thought it was a great game. Two tough teams, some tough lads out there that really went toe to toe, and just so happy to come out on the right side of the result.
You'll be watching with interest, Warrington or Wakefield?
Yeah, it's you know, nice to see my old club get there, and it would be something special. But just really happy about tonight, and you know, that we're in that final.
Well done, Gareth.
Thank you.
Well, the Hull fans here inside the keep modes are staying put. Very few have left. They're applauding their players. A few of whom are still out there on the pitch. The Wigan fans have already gone. We aren't going anywhere either. We're going to stay on until 10:30. So if you were tuning in for Claire Balding Meets this evening on BBC Two, then that's now going to be shown Tuesday evening at 10 o'clock. I'm sure if there was one thing Claire wouldn't mind being bumped for, it is the Rugby League and the Challenge Cup semi-finals. The Hull players are out there. Brian Noble, I don't know whether it was you or John Keir said it in commentary, that not a game full of skill, but a game full of intensity and admirable defence. Would that be fair?
I thought it was breathtaking. I thought it was typical semi-final fare. I thought it was nervous, it was tense, it was emotional. Hull tried their best to lose it at the end with the way that they played technically, but emotionally they were brilliant. You know, they stuck in there. Gareth Ellis has said it, Danny Houghton has said it. Their desire to get over the line was there for all to see, and you knew Wigan were going to come back into that game, and they just couldn't find the play because all the energy they'd used up defending the whole team at the start of that second half. It was hard, some balls were going to ground, and just kept seeing the desire from both teams. Fabulous game.
We're right in the middle of the Hull huddle at the moment. I'm assuming, Jamie Peacock, knowing you and guessing how teams are in semi-finals, you say enjoy this, but the job isn't done yet.
Yeah, it definitely isn't done yet. They're right to enjoy it because it's been a classic game between two very closely matched sides, and you could tell at the end, I think the will and the want was greater for Hull. That's why they came away with it in the end. And I thought it was a fantastic spectacle if you like rugby league, if you like that grittiness and the resilience that they showed. And I thought Hull edged the start of the second half with their power game, but then also edged it when Wigan had the ball for long periods. Their defence was better than Wigan's attack. And also when you have a team's desire and enthusiasm, I think it's measured by how many shirts you see in the frame, and you always saw more black Hull shirts in the frame than the red and whites.
Yeah, Hull's defence was spectacular at times. Their willingness to work for each other on their goal line was really a lesson in how to play a big game of rugby league and how to win a big game of rugby league. Wigan's attack looked toothless at times, but I think we've got to credit Hull's defence. Hull really put Wigan under pressure, and Wigan struggled to break Hull down at any time. I think there's maybe one break where Tompkins found a pass to Gildart, they made a break, got some field position. Aside from that, really, Wigan struggled to break this Hull team down, and it was a huge effort from them. I think fantastic for the club to get to.
I agree with you, John, and I think the individual prowess that we spoke about at half-time came to the fore right at the start of that second half. A lot of the Hull players Minicello was making a break, Ellis was making a break, Watts was getting out there, and that willingness to offload the ball and take advantage of that at the start of that second half broke the game open for Hull.
That was a big thing. Hull's execution and the way in which they passed the balls. There was a couple of plays there where they found a load of passes, and in the first half those passes weren't sticking. In the second half, crucially, just for 2 sets they stuck.
They don't want to leave, don't the Hull players, nor do the Hull fans, and you can completely understand that. Reminiscent of the scenes last season, actually, with Hull KR and their fans and their players. And I know you are a Hull KR man now, Jamie, but we said it last year, actually, after Hull KR made the final. It's great for the city, and I know for a lot of us around this table, me, John, you, it is a city that's close to our heart. For Hull KR there last year, Hull there this year, that's a great effort.
Yeah, it is from Hull. You can't knock out they've played this year, and they fully deserve that, and they should soak it up. When you win a semi-final and you've got an atmosphere like that and a following like that, you deserve to stay out there and enjoy these moments. That's what you play professional sport for, these kind of big moments where you've nailed a performance and you've got a great supporters behind you. Soak it up.
We can contrast that with the Wigan dressing room as Sean Wayne and his managerial team talk to those players, and look at that, as you see, heads are bowed and nobody really saying anything at the moment. Jamie?
It's the worst place to lose is a semi-final, because when you get to the final and you lose, at least you have the Wembley experience, but there, no one remembers who was in a semi-final.
Oh, it's awful, an awful feeling, and there's a lot of young guys in that Wigan dressing room who'll be learning. And on the flip side to that, we've got some Hull players here we see having a picture, have got a lot of experience. The power in that group of players there, if you look at Pritchard, Sikamanu, Fanua, Talanoa, I thought those guys, when they carry the ball, were devastating at times tonight. Hull's power and strength got them out of the half consistently, but I'll go back to it. Hull's defence won them the game tonight, no doubt about it. Frustrated Wigan to death, and credit to them.
It's an interesting contrast to earlier on in the season, Brian, and all three of you, I'm interested in your thoughts on this. They went to Wigan early on in the season in Super League and got smashed, to Widnes early on in the Super League, got smashed by Widnes. And at the end of that game, the players kicked the managerial team out of the dressing room and dealt with it themselves.
Yeah, what crisis you're looking at now, but those senior players, it's easy for the focus to be on a coach and what's not going right and wrong. At some stage, in whatever's going on, the players have to have a responsibility as to what's going on. I never used to mind players getting together and saying, this is what's wrong, as long as a plan of action to put it right afterwards.
I always think, the great teams I've been involved in, the players have a huge amount of ownership. Once you get into a game, you've got a game plan, but then the players have got to dictate that.
We'll come back to Hull in just a moment, but let's turn it back to Wigan, the defeated side, and Sean Wayne is talking to Damien Johnson.
Sean, thanks for joining us. When the dust settles, would you concede that the better team won marginally on the night?
Yeah, absolutely. They were the best team. But on the back of that, I would say I'm very, very proud of our efforts. People don't understand how busted we were, but the effort of that 17 players was outstanding. All were the best team. They deserve to be at Wembley. They've been good all year, and all the best to them.
The defensive effort from your side in the first half was extraordinary.
It was, to be honest, Damien, we give ourselves too much to do. Turn the ball over and play one, play two again. But the desire my team showed was outstanding, and it will help us further on in the year, but this is very, very tough to take. Because I thought that all were there for the taking if we'd have been a bit smarter at certain areas in the field.
Did the defensive effort in the first half take so much out of it you couldn't find that spark to cross the line in the second half?
Yeah, I think you're bang on. I think you've nailed it. We did that much D because we turned the ball over at important times. When we did get the ball, our attack wasn't crisp. But when we got up in the final third, we scored, we had a try disallowed. and we didn't really test them in the second half. The field position we had was poor, so we didn't really give ourselves a chance to get a foothold in the game.
That was as bruising, as intense as rugby league gets, wasn't it?
It was a tough game. All are big, really big. You know, we're small compared to them, but you know what my team has is a lot of desire, a lot of toughness. The players are absolutely as bad as I've ever seen them. They're devastated because, you know, we feel we deserve to get something out of that today, but you know, end of the day, it weren't enough in the end.
Sean, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Damien. Thank you.
He's proud of the effort of his players. He's proud of how they've performed. If you look at the bigger picture going forward with the Super 8s to come and a potential grand final, that will be what their aim will be. How concerned will he be about their attacking threat? Only Leeds have scored less points in Super League this season. They struggled again tonight.
Yeah, I think it's been a consistent problem for them all year. I mean, look, the points for and against usually don't lie. The defence has been immaculate, you know, fantastic. But with the ball, they've struggled to break teams down, and there's a million reasons. You know, we could get really technical to maybe why Wigan's attacks spluttered and not quite worked this year. But I think if they can bring that attitude and intensity to the majority of games, they'll win. The problem what they had is they came up against Hull, a side who was equally good at defending as them, but with the ball probably were a little bit more potent.
This game tonight, they were a kick or a pass away from getting over the line. So he said it, he's mentioned it there, they're bitterly disappointed, as they would be, but that will fuel their end of season. And generally you see in a loss like that, it galvanises you and says, right, we've messed up here, we didn't quite get those spoils, but it really make them have a decent charge towards the Super League title.
Let's take a look at the 2 Hull tries in the second half, shall we?
Yeah, Michaels came up with the first try, and we spoke after the first half about Hull's maybe ineffectiveness. They come up with a play here, one player involved, second player involved, and what they did here is they were patient, explored the Wigan defensive line, 3 players involved. They're just trying to engineer an opening, big Frank Pritchard offload, tip on, 6 players, 7 players, Michaels in the corner. That's a little bit of quality, isn't it, in the game?
I think when your attack isn't firing, when your big set plays aren't working, when you can go to the unorthodox like this, this is where you get tries from, and that's how they managed to do it, through great skill and everybody wanting to push and expecting the ball.
Every team practices defending against structure and against plays, so we all set starts and defend those set starts, and we'll look at Wigan's players and we'll defend Wigan's players, and we'll look at Hull's players and defend Hull's players, but you can't defend against things you haven't seen. And the piece of play there, Hull haven't done before. It's never been recreated in the history of rugby league. You will not see that try again. And those are the plays that break sides down in the modern game.
And they had to make that decision at the start of the second half, because they were being stifled by a very good Wigan defence who were handling pretty much everything that were being thrown at. And so those individuals that have got the sidestep and the ability to offload took a chance. At the start of that second hand, they expanded the game in the way they wanted to play. And in the end, even the second try with the kick from Sneed was on the back of a lot of offloads.
So if I won't see that try again in the history of rugby league, I might see the Talanoa try again because it was an individual error.
Well, no, actually, there's a million things have gone on, Chappers, so I'll correct you. You'll never see this try again either. But, look, it was an offload, another offload. Hull are patient here. It looks a bit frantic, but it's not. Sneed gets some composure, kicks, isolates Manfredi. Manfredi, you know, he's got to do better.
He's got to catch that. He normally catches those. He'll be thinking about that all night. He needs to catch it, but it's good play from Hull. Good sides can have a bit of off the cuff and then go back to structure, kick to the corner for a winger.
Yeah, that's when structure's helpful, is when you go away from it and the game becomes frantic, is then drop back into your structure. And actually Wigan's try came off the back of something similar in that second half, but a great kick from Sneed.
You just can't make those mistakes in a big game though, can you? We talked about how tight the game was and how close it was, and mistakes like that absolutely kill you.
Isn't there an argument, I don't want to get too philosophical about it, that I'll never see an identical try
That's
ever
what I was trying to remind him as BBC iPlayer. You can watch it again if you want.
Bet you will not see that try again.
It's just a bit too deep for a Friday. Just go back to what we were talking about before we heard from Sean Wayne and the whole players taking responsibility. Can we read too much into that, given how their season has gone now?
I think it was a turning point in the season, because I think great sides have players who own the game, who understand the ebb and the flow and the feel of the game, and are able to marshal the rest of the players round there. And I think you look in any sport, any team sport, that the great teams have 3 or 4, 5, 6 players in there who own that team, who know how to move the team around.
And this is where Hull's recruitment's been fantastic. Look, Hull's changing fortunes, I believe, is off the back of recruiting 5 to 6 international players. Hull 3 or 4 years ago didn't have these types of players. We look at a guy who didn't play today, Leon Price. We've got Sika Manu, we've got Frank Pritchard, we've got Gareth Ellis, we've got Danny Houghton, experienced senior players. And
let's hear from Gareth Ellis, shall we? Not in an interview, but from the whole of the 80 minutes, because he's been wearing the player mic for us this evening.
Let's really turn the screw on and whatever happens, we're straight back into this. Awesome saves. Work out 5 minutes. Real strong for us here in these last stages. Fingers on, not safe. It's too tense for me, this. Yes! Good work, Jay. Well done, sir. Well done. That's a lot for all. Thank you.
Nice touch from Sean O'Loughlin at the end.
Yeah, he's a world-class person as a world-class player as well, and two meet in the middle there. They're absolutely icons of our game, those two players.
How much in the run-up to a final at Wembley will the fact that they haven't won at Wembley play on them? Is that just a media thing?
I think you can tell by the way Lee Bradford spoke that that's going to motivate them to go out there and win at Wembley. They're going to get that monkey off their back.
You've got to give him a credit as well, not just the recruitment, but Radford too.
Yeah, fantastic. Signed some great players, and he's really got his team going after some adversity, hasn't he? You know, that adversity at the start of the season we've spoken about takes some turning round that, and he seems to have done it in emphatic style.
I think we've seen two teams tonight run their blood to water, and the desire of the whole team at the end there to defend their own line was exemplary and got them over the line. They'll be looking for a little bit more attacking prowess, I suppose, but they're there. They've done it.
And Hull will genuinely think they've got a chance of the double.
Definitely, but I think they'll just stick with one at a time at the moment.
says that's the coach in you, isn't it? That really. Listen, thank you very much to the three of you. We'll see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, we've got Warrington against Wakefield on BBC One. All the build-up from 2 o'clock. Hull will be waiting for one of them in the final. Good night.
Across the BBC.
If you're into cycling, think of this as a marathon on wheels. The annual Ride London Surrey event takes place again this weekend. Live coverage starts on Sunday morning at 10 here on BBC Two. Following tonight's extended rugby, Claire Balding meets Johnny Peacock and Hannah Cockcroft will now be on Tuesday at 10. On BBC Two now, Newsnight with Kirsty Walk.
Remember this? The Chinese president riding high over the new business relationship with Britain, but are the wheels coming off the carriage? Tonight the government says it's reviewing the whole plan for Hinkley Point C and have concerns about China's true intentions spook the government. This former government advisor says it could be a nuclear Trojan horse.
I am confident that Jeremy Corbyn
Now, the French energy firm EDF says it was only made aware on Thursday of the government's plan to delay a final decision on Britain's first nuclear power plant in 20 years. The deal for an £18 billion scheme at Hinkley Point in Somerset was meant to be signed on Friday after EDF, which is financing most of the project, approved it. The government's announcement has been described as bewildering and bonkers by the trade unions. Our business editor Simon Jack reports.
Just when you think you've got there, you hit another bump in the road. After EDF's board voted to give this project the green light, today was meant to be a celebration. This tent should have been thronging, with officials celebrating the start of construction in earnest, with the on-site workforce growing from hundreds to thousands. But the government said, not so fast.
Deeply disappointed, and I've spoken to many people who are really angry. People who spent years working to get us to the position that we've got to. There was real celebrations yesterday when the EDF's board made the final investment decision, and this has very much felt like a slap in the face from the UK government.
So what happens now? Basically there are three options. Option 1, pause. Think, read the small print and sign the original deal. Option 2, renegotiate. Try and save money by offering EDF a lower price for the energy from Hinkley. But this might further delay or risk the project collapsing, as EDF only just agreed to this one. Option 3, cancel. Walk away, save £18 billion, saying after a decade of efforts from two previous governments, this isn't the deal for us. But then where would the electricity everyone agrees we need then come from?
The government says it wants to take its time to review its options. After all, this is a 50-year commitment we're talking about. It'll lock us into a contract that could cost consumers £30 billion over the lifetime of the contract. That all seems fair enough, but they didn't tell the very people building it until the last moment, and that seems a strange way to treat important trading partners like China, like France, at the very time you're trying to tell the world you're open for business.
Remember, EDF is 85% owned by the French state. You upset EDF, you upset France.
If one of the governments, one of the sides cancels the deal, it's going to be very bitter on the other side, and it could contribute to a souring of the relationships between the two countries, especially in the context of the Brexit.
China agreed to put in a third of the money, a result in part of a George Osborne charm offensive. But changing partners or price will be very difficult.
I think effectively what it means is that the deal in its current form is dead in the water. I think the only reason for a review can be one of two factors. First, that the government don't like the price that is being asked. Second, that they don't like the involvement of the Chinese in the way that's suggested. I think it's going to be very difficult to renegotiate either of those.
Once again, the decision on this mammoth project has been parked while we wait, this time for the government to decide the way forward. Simon Jack, BBC News.
Police in Scotland say an investigation has identified more than 500 victims or potential victims of online child sex abuse. At least 77 people have been arrested and charged after a 6-week police operation in which 30 million images were found. Our Scotland correspondent Stephen Godden reports.
It is the sinister side of the online world. This summer, Scottish police concentrated their efforts on tackling the sexual abuse of children. 6 weeks that revealed the scale of a growing problem. Codenamed Operation Lattice, detectives identified more than 500 child victims. They recovered more than 30 million images of children as young as 3 being abused. On one computer alone, 10 million pictures and videos were discovered.
These individuals want to be wherever children are. So they're using websites, forums, chat rooms that children use. These men predominantly are using the profiles of children, pretending to be children effectively, to communicate with younger children, to groom them online, to offend against them.
In this crime lab, the grim task of unpicking a computer's dark secrets. In the worst case, it'll take a team of 4 officers 6 months to simply view the material. By targeting their resources, Police Scotland's aim was to shine a light in dark corners. As they suspected, the more they looked, the more they found. So far, the operation has led to more than 70 people being charged, and there is no stereotypical abuser. Those arrested range in age from 14 to almost 90.
Behind every image is it's a crime scene. It's a child who has been subject to abuse, and every time that image is shared, that child has been re-victimised, and we really need to make sure that both we tackle where crimes have been committed, but we also prevent this from happening in the first place.
Young people are spending more and more time online. For parents at this gaming festival in Glasgow, it's a difficult balancing act.
My daughter is 6, so she's really young just now. But when she gets to that age, who knows where social networking is going to be online? You know, the internet's not going to go away anymore now, and it's potentially just going to become more of a safety issue.
Anybody can make up stories. They can say they're a different age. They could kid on that they're a child. If you don't hear their voice, if they're just typing, then you don't know anything about them.
You know, you need to constantly check and constantly monitor what your kids are doing, or something. You know, it will take something rotten to happen for you to figure that out.
Reputation, your safety and your responsibility.
While the enforcement continues, so too do efforts to warn children about potential dangers online. Those catching the abusers say prevention is their most powerful tool. Stephen Godden, BBC News, Glasgow.
It's 3:15. This is BBC News and these are the headlines. Florida has confirmed the first cases of the Zika virus transmitted by mosquitoes on the US mainland. And the charity Save the Children says a maternity hospital in Syria has been bombed. At least 2 people are reported dead. Well, let's get more on our top story now, and the fact that the Zika virus has spread to the US mainland, believed to have been the first cases of the infection contracted locally. And Dr. Cameron Khan is an infectious disease specialist at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Khan. You predicted this, didn't you, a couple of months ago?
Well, actually, yes. If we look back to January of 2016, my colleagues and I published some work in The Lancet, and we were looking at the potential for this virus to spread to other regions of the Americas. And in fact, actually, southern Florida was really an area identified to be at high risk. There's a large connection in terms of travelers from Latin America and a suitable climate in that region. So I think this is how we're seeing it play out right now.
Should we all be?
You know, I think, you know, as we said, Zika virus in southern Florida was largely expected. But, you know, if you happen to live in the area in that region, and particularly if you're pregnant or planning on becoming pregnant, you're obviously understandably quite concerned about this virus right now. But I think, you know, in terms of the potential for this to cause a lot more cases, I think southern Florida, we're not going to see the sort of explosive outbreaks that we've seen in other parts of Latin America and the Caribbean.
But what about other parts of the Americas and, say, Canada?
Mm-hmm. Well, thankfully, you know, I'm in Canada. Thankfully, we don't actually have the Aedes mosquito that is the main vector for Zika virus up here in Canada. But other parts of the world, this virus is actually found quite a bit. It's found in parts of Europe. It's found in Africa and Asia. I do suspect that we are going to see this virus start to spread to other regions of the world, perhaps in the months ahead. It may take some time before we see it start to move gradually across these regions, but now that the Northern Hemisphere is in the summer, the climate is suitable, and I suspect we will be seeing this pop up elsewhere.
And indeed, what would your advice be there for anyone who obviously is concerned, they're out and about a lot, and are concerned for their welfare?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, you know, if you happen to live in the area in around Miami and Broward County where these cases have been confirmed, you know, you're going to want to minimize your exposure to mosquito bites, you know, wearing long pants, long sleeve shirts, and wearing insect repellent to minimize the mosquito bites during the daytime. I think this is particularly true if you're pregnant or planning on becoming pregnant. So I think these are going to be the main things for individuals living in the area, and also just to see whether or not we see a significant increase in the number of cases. Right now, the risk, I would say, is quite low with just 4 confirmed cases, but we're going to have to see how this plays out in the weeks ahead.
Dr. Cameron Khan, infectious disease specialist at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto. Thank you. Back in Britain now, and 2 men, one of them a former British judo champion, had been jailed for 4 years for trying to smuggle 18 Albanian migrants into the UK. None of the migrants had been given a life jacket, and they believed they were minutes from death. Our correspondent Duncan Kennedy reports.
This was the ghostly image of the migrants' boat adrift, without petrol and taking on water. Closer up you can see the two smugglers in their red clothing. Robert Stillwell and Mark Stribling had life jackets on. The 18 Albanian migrants, including 2 children and a woman, did not. On the right of the shot you can see one migrant desperately trying to bail out water. The judge today said everyone here was within a whisker of a tragedy. Stillwell and Stribling were each paid £2,000 to smuggle the migrants in. The migrants each paid £5,000 to make the journey.
We often see that people smugglers treat human beings as a commodity. In this instance, they were treated as cargo.
Robert Stillwell was a former British judo champion and was today given 4 years in jail. Mark Stribling also received 4 years. The court heard the 2 men were given the boat as hired hands and weren't the real organisers, who aimed to make around £90,000 from this one single trip. Today's sentencing brings to an end one of the biggest people smuggling cases ever to reach the British courts. There have been warnings for months about the vulnerability of the UK coastline, given the numbers of migrants reaching northern France. The government says it's aware of the problem and is now increasing the number of maritime patrols. In a separate but almost identical case today, this man, Stephen Jackson, was also jailed for people smuggling along the south coast. He used this catamaran to bring in 17 Albanian migrants into Chichester Harbour. They too were caught. 35 migrants were involved in today's 2 cases. All but 9 have now been sent back. This has been a success for the Home Office, but also a warning about British coastal defences. Duncan Kennedy, BBC News in Kent.
The missing actress Honeysuckle Weeks has been found safe and well. Officers have been searching for the 36-year-old from Petworth in West Sussex since Thursday. The 36-year-old is best known for her role in the ITV series Foyle's War. Today marks 50 years to the day since England won the Football World Cup. But despite the expectations of millions of fans, the team have never come close to repeating the feat since. Our special correspondent Alan Little reports for us now on the significance of that victory and what it revealed about the sort of nation that England was in the summer of 1966.
Why does this moment still resonate so powerfully in England's national memory? 50 years on, it looks like a moment of transition from the monochrome grind of post-war recovery to the technicolor explosion of 60s modernity. Post-war Britain was a country in retreat from global power. Internationally, there had been little cause to cheer. Football was about to change that.
But the different stadium now as well, mate, without the Twin Towers, they made a difference.
Alf Howe and Brian Jones, brothers-in-law from Teesside, walked down Wembley Way to that match half a century ago.
When you come back here now and think of that day, what do you think of mostly?
I think just the elation.
The success of
the fact that we won something, the elation, the fact that, definitely. I came out and stood against one of the Twin Towers and just slid down like a cartoon figure, completely drained, and I thought, well, you know, what else can happen now, you know, that's it, what have we done, what have we achieved now, you know.
What had they achieved? They had reconnected with a by then fading sense of British greatness, the idea that this was still an exceptional nation. This replica of the original World Cup was used by the team during the victory celebrations in 1966. It's now in the National Football Museum in Manchester.
To my generation, children who grew up in the 1960s, the Jules Rimet Trophy was probably the most glamorous, most thrilling 12 inches of metal anywhere in the world. There was something almost mystical about the power of it. And 5 decades on, I can still feel it, even now.
It had seemed like we'd done nothing but lose before. It was defeat after defeat, whether that be out in the Empire, you know, you'd be getting reports from Malaya, somewhere in Africa, Borneo or whatever. The British were on the retreat. And the same went for football.
The flags in the stadium that day were Union flags. English and British identity were still fused. but not for much longer. All the players were white and mostly working class. They lived the same lives as those who cheered them from the stands. For this was the tail end of an older Britain, not yet multicultural, not yet the age of the super-rich sporting celebrity.
The second period of extra time.
Geoff Hurst's third goal secured victory. The next day, he went home and mowed his lawn. After his football career, he took a job selling insurance. Changed days. Alan Little, BBC News.
Now, a foul-smelling plant known as the corpse flower is finally blooming at New York's Botanical Garden after more than 10 years of growth. The smell is to attract flies and beetles to help the plant pollinate, and it's drawing many visitors despite emitting an odour resembling rotting flesh.
It smelled like vomit.
Horrible. Garbage. It smells filthy. Yeah, filthy.
What a dog leaves behind.
I sniffed out garbage. I live over in Bushwick, and it smells exactly like the streets of Bushwick. It's disgusting. It's just kind of a hot trash day in Bushwick.
We have a nose for news here. Time for the weather now. Here's Darren Bett.
Hello there, good morning. It's a typical mixed bag for this weekend, the last weekend of July. There'll be some decent sunshine around and it'll feel quite warm in the sunshine too, but there will be a scattering of showers. Already we've got cooler nights in the north. That cooler air will push its way down across the whole of the country. Eventually, this lovely picture was taken as the sun went down in Shropshire yesterday, but before then we had some heavy showers. A number of funnel cloud pictures from our weather watchers, this one in Cambridgeshire. And those showers across eastern parts of England are taking some time to fade away. By the end of the night, this is where we've got a weak weather front in the southeast. Still some warmer, muggy air here, fresher towards the north. Already beginning to see the sunshine coming out early on Saturday, but there will be some showers as well. So we start the story, but again, a few bits of rain or drizzle. But as that cloud thins and breaks through the morning, so the sunshine comes through, heats things up and could trigger a few showers as we move into the afternoon. And by then, showers a little more widely across Scotland and Northern Ireland, beginning to develop here and there across England and Wales, mainly towards the west. Temperatures a little below par for Scotland and Northern Ireland, where there's more of a breeze. Still quite warm towards the southeast, 24 degrees here. We will see temperatures dropping fairly quickly though during the evening. The showers, most of them fading away, but the stronger breeze keeps those showers running into the north and perhaps the west of Scotland. But a cooler night. These are the temperatures in the countryside by dawn on Sunday. Noticeably cooler towards the southeast, a more comfortable night for sleeping perhaps. There may be some heavy showers clipping the southeast corner of England on Sunday morning to pull away, and we'll see some sunny spells again, cloud bubbling up, a few scattered showers pushing in, most of the showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland, and again some of them could be a little on the heavy side. Temperatures still below par in the north, 22 or 23 towards the south, and warm in the sunshine. A little sunshine to begin next week, but cloud amounts will increase, and there's the threat of some outbreaks of rain, mainly pushing into the south and west of the UK. We've got weather fronts lining up in the Atlantic. A lot of uncertainty about this one, how much it clips the southwest and southern parts of England during later Monday. There's another weather front lining up as we head to Tuesday.
The time is 3:30 and these are the latest headlines on BBC News. The US state of Florida has confirmed the first 4 cases of the Zika infection to be contracted from local mosquitoes. Until now, all known cases in the United States have been connected to people catching Zika abroad. US officials insist that Florida is still a safe place to visit. A maternity hospital in Syria has been hit by an airstrike, according to the charity Save the Children. 2 people are reported to have died and a number of patients, including babies, have been wounded. The bombing happened in a rebel-held area of Idlib province in the northwest of the country. And President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey has announced that, as a gesture of goodwill, he's withdrawing all lawsuits against individuals accused of insulting him. Almost 2,000 prosecutions for insulting the president had been approved in the last 2 years. Well, in
transport are electrification and autonomy. Those are the two biggest innovations since the moving production line, and they're both happening at about the same time.
And it's Elon Musk's company, Tesla, that's really been spearheading the latest drive to electric. We first took the Roadster for a spin back in 2007, and since then the electric vehicle has gone from sporty status symbol to, well, if I'm honest, a slightly less sporty status symbol. But dominating the conversation at the moment, not Tesla's latest models, but concerns over the safety of its driver assist autopilot feature after it was involved in 2 crashes and 1 fatality. But while the lawyers go to work on the autonomous side, Musk is getting ready for electric to go prime time. Now, the space beneath the floor in these things is full of batteries, and Tesla is going to need an awful lot of them. Dave Lee has been to Nevada to witness the opening of the Gigafactory.
Say hello to the Gigafactory. Right now it's only 14% finished, if you can believe that, and when it's complete the complex will cover over 3,000 acres. This factory is the crucial part of the master plan set out by the boss of Tesla, Elon Musk.
When Elon Musk published his latest master plan for what he wants to do with Tesla, he said he was done doing just electric cars. Now he wants to do things like lorries and buses and any type of ground transportation. If he's going to achieve that, he needs to make a lot more batteries, which is what this place is for.
The plan here is to basically speed things up a bit. Right now, Tesla has to ship battery cells across the ocean from Asia. This takes a long time and is very expensive, and so they want to make battery cells right here instead. They've promised that by 2018 they'll be able to produce enough batteries for 500,000 cars each year. And it won't just be car batteries either. Tesla's home and business energy storage units will also be put together here.
Welcome to the Gigafactory. I believe we are on track to meet the 500,000 in 2018. Basically, obviously, long term it's going to make sense to have a Gigafactory in Europe and one in China, probably one in India.
Very big plans, although he may want to concentrate on finishing this factory first.
Tesla has missed a lot of deadlines in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if some things slipped. But ultimately, I went to the Tesla Fremont factory before that opened, and it was kind of a ghost yard there too, but they've done some amazing things there. I think they'll do some amazing things here too.
Not everything is going smoothly, however.
Oh, there he goes. Wow. Wow.
Do you have any regrets about how Tesla rolled out autopilot in the cars?
No, I think we did the right thing, and I think we have the internal data to know that we improved people's safety, not just in fatalities but also in injuries.
It's pretty fair to say that only Elon Musk could pull off something like the Gigafactory, and of all the things he's working on, it's surely this project that will make or break him.
Hello and welcome to the Week in Tech. It was the week a plane powered only by the sun circumnavigated the globe, Apple sold its billionth iPhone, and space robot the Philae lander bid an emotional farewell. Meanwhile, 3D screenings without glasses could be coming soon to a cinema near you. Although already possible on a smaller scale, MIT CSAIL and the Weizmann Institute of Science's prototype could provide the eyewear-free big screen solution. The technology only allows viewing through a limited range of movement though, so best sit still. It'll also need a more practical solution to its current 50 sets of mirrors and lenses before going on general release. Feel your computer game characters need a bit more emotion? Viso is a face-tracking VR headset which hopes to recreate the way you're feeling in virtual reality. Its built-in infrared cameras track your eyes, eyebrows, jawbone and mouth, so your avatar can react accordingly. And it was a good and bad week for smart home devices. Good because an Atapmo security camera alerted a homeowner to this fire so the fire brigade could be called. But bad as some PetNet smart pet feeders were hit by a server outage, meaning some hungry dogs and cats.
Now, every so often, the world goes crazy for a brand new app. And in the last couple of weeks, something amazing has hit our phones. Not you, Bulbasaur! No, this is an app called Prisma, which does something brilliant to pictures, not Pikachus. Mark, you've been playing with it, so explain more.
What it does is it applies really, really extreme filters to still images. Filters that make a photograph look like an illustration or a painting. It's an app that can make your photos look like they were painted by Picasso or Mondrian. But how does it work? Well, I quizzed its creator via Skype.
You took a photo on your phone, then we do some pre-processing on a device, then you send a photo to the cloud, and we have several neural networks doing different parts of image processing. Then some main neural network redraw your image based on a style you choose, and you get the result on a device.
Now, you haven't just stopped at photos either, have you?
Looking at this, I thought, well, it'd be nice to apply these filters to moving images as well.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this app doesn't support video. It is for still images only. But moving images, well, they're just lots and lots of stills put together, right?
Yeah.
Film is really just a series of still images, all played in sequence very quickly. So, I took an old sketch made for Click starring Spencer and I as cowboys and exported every single frame as a still image. Once these images were imported back onto my phone, I applied the same filter to each individual frame. I used a particular filter called Heisenberg. This created a hand-drawn effect, which resulted in a short film which looked as if it had been rotoscoped. That's an old animation technique which relies on artists tracing over footage of real human movement. When viewed on a phone, the stills animate in an effect similar to a flickbook. However, export those stills into editing software and play them one after the other, and you have a short animated film.
That's brilliant. How long did that take you?
It's been about 9 days.
Full marks for perseverance. We'll put the whole Chislak work of art online, but here's a brief taster of what it looks like.
Prisma have plans to make its filters work on 360-degree photos as well as working on video footage, which means in future you won't need to go through the laborious process that I did.
We're off to the Royal Institution, which is just here, to participate in the world's largest game of Pong.
So large that it should make a new world record. And for those of you who've been living under a CGI rock for the past 30 years, this is Pong. I don't really need to explain the rules, do I? And the people responsible for gathering this parade of Pong players?
What I've invented is a way for the audience to come in, connect to our Wi-Fi network, and then we can beam games at them, so they all play a game together.
You've got to log onto the Wi-Fi network. Oh, welcome to Wi-Fi Wars.
To make the magic happen, the guys need a main computer which is hooked up to a router, which is then daisy-chained around the room. The number of routers depends on the amount of players. The audience is divided into 2 teams.
Which team am I on? BBC Red.
Each player gets 2 controls beamed to their phones, an up and a down arrow, and the majority vote then makes the team's corresponding slider move up or down.
It says, hello Quick, please stand by.
Out of nowhere, the room went crazy, and Steve and Rob emerged like two Pong overlords, hell-bent on achieving their goal as Guinness World Record holders. Better get to it, otherwise there'll be a riot. Just in the nick of time, the Guinness World Record adjudicators arrive and calm the crowd into a deep, meditative concentration.
1, 2, 3.
Let's do this.
We're in, we're in. Well, you've got to hold it.
Yeah, hold it down. Up, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, come on.
Phones flashed, people cheered, and a mighty match of Pong was played. But the real question on everyone's lips...
Have we just broke a record?
In this case, the previous record was at 251. So, with a total of 286.
We did it! And I was part of it. One of the greatest world records ever achieved by any single person in the world ever.
I'll pretend like that. That's me. I did that. That's all me.
And that's it for the shortcut of Click for this week. The full version is on iPlayer for you to watch right now. And on Twitter, you can catch up with us throughout the week at BBC Click. Thanks for watching.
Hello and welcome to the film review on BBC News. To take us through this week's cinema releases is Anna Smith. What do we have?
We've got Jason Bourne is back in the film Jason Bourne, starring, of course, Matt Damon as the CIA operative gone rogue. Then we have Author, the J.T. Leroy story, which is an absolutely fascinating documentary about what was allegedly a great sort of literary hoax. And then we have Finding Dory, another franchise returns after quite a break. We have Ellen DeGeneres, of course, voicing the main character in the Disney Pixar animation.
Gosh, Jason Bourne and Finding Dory. What can I say? A feast.
Yes.
Jason Bourne, first of all.
Jason Bourne. Well, this is, I would say, another entertaining episode in the franchise. I'm not quite sure they brought it back because with the Bourne Ultimatum, that seemed to wrap things up quite well. And then they had an offshoot, The Bourne Legacy, not starring Matt Damon, starring Jeremy Renner, which didn't do very well. So I think they thought, OK, let's go back to basics here. So Paul Greengrass directing. Matt Damon is the CIA agent who's still sort of clawing back his memories, trying to work out how, you know, the CIA sort of done him wrong, which is a lot every time. Julia Stiles is also back in this one, and her character Nikki basically lets him in on another sort of secret she's found out about his past. And we've got two new characters here which seem very familiar. Tommy Lee Jones, the kind of frowning CIA head sort of chasing down Bourne, and we have Alicia Vikander as a rather more softly kind of CIA agent who may have a kind of frisson with Bourne even though their paths rarely cross. Let's have a look at a clip. So yeah, familiar stuff, as you can see, but the great thing is Paul Greengrass works really well with Matt Damon, and the formula isn't particularly broken, they don't particularly fix it. It's just, the best thing about this is the action, as always, I think. You know, we start off in Athens with the riots, gripping stuff, chases through the streets. We've got Vance, they always do, and it feels a little bit this time, they've sort of gone, gosh, what else can we introduce from his past that he could try and dig around and find out about?
But it's post-Snowden, isn't it, and post-WikiLeaks, and so therefore things have really changed in the past 10 years. So yeah. That's what, for me at least, makes Bond a little bit dated. That's, you know, the British Empire, love it that we all do, is kind of gone, whereas this is much edgier.
They do try to introduce something current into everyone, and that's what they've done with this one. It just doesn't sit too tightly, but it's still a very entertaining film.
Now, Author, J.T. Leroy's story. What an interesting topic.
This is a very, very interesting story that broke in 2006. Basically, a writer who had claimed to be a young, homeless teenage boy who was having some confusion about his sexuality, and who did very well with several novels, including Susan and The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things, turned out to be a 40-year-old woman who had not only been conversing with lots of celebrities over the phone and book agents and therapists with the voice of this character, J.T. Leroy, but she had also hired her stepsister, or rather her sister-in-law, to appear as this character in public. You couldn't make it up. Let's have a look at a clip. So that's Laura Albert you see there, who was the writer. And what's interesting about this documentary, it has a lot of access to her. There have been other documentaries about this subject, of course, why not? It's an amazing story. But she sort of drives the story forward by sharing her recollections. And she also, interestingly, taped all her conversations with all these celebrities, so including Courtney Love, who's always good value. So, you know, it's a very...
humankind or whatever.
I know what you mean. It's an incredibly complex story, and there's so much. I mean, you could make a 10-hour documentary about this because there's so many issues that it throws up. I think this one just tells it more from her point of view, which hasn't been done before, but I agree, I was wanting them to challenge her more. I mean, it's a very well put together documentary within the boundaries of being from her point of view and being her story.
Worth hearing, there's no doubt about that.
But yeah, they should challenge her more.
Now,
yeah.
Finding Dory. Now, I love Finding Nemo, I confess.
Well then, I think you'll like Finding Dory a lot. I wouldn't say it's quite as amazing as Finding Nemo, you know, and perhaps not quite so much crossover appeal for adults, but I think all the family will enjoy it. So Finding Dory is about the main character played by Ellen DeGeneres, and she has that lovely sort of high-pitched, almost hysterical voice, which sort of fits really well with her character, who you will remember has short-term memory loss.
I remember that, yes.
Yes.
One of the few things I remember about her.
And she's been swimming around the ocean, as it turns out, for years, trying to find her parents, or trying to work out what she's doing there, indeed. And this goes into her backstory, and she tries to remember, when she suddenly remembers the existence of her parents, and goes, oh my goodness, I have to go try and find them. Let's have a look.
My family! I remember my family! They're out there somewhere. I have to find them. Guys, you gotta help me, guys! Guys, hello? Guys, where are you? Hello?
Dory!
Ah! Where did you go?
You were the one to go.
My parents! I remembered them! Wait, what did you remember? I remembered them! My mom, my dad! I have a family! They don't know where I am. Let's go.
Dory,
we have to go.
no, this is crazy. Where exactly are you trying to go?
To the gym of the, Baltic?
The Jewel of Morro Bay, California.
Yes!
No, Dory, California's all the way across the ocean.
Then we better get going.
How come every time we're on the edge of this reef, one of us is trying to leave? For once, can't we just enjoy the view?
How can you be talking about the view when I remembered my family?
No, we've done our ocean travels. That part of our lives is over. The only reason to travel in the first place is so you don't have to travel ever again.
Yeah, but I want to...
Now, if you tell me the vegetarian shark from Finding Nemo is in this, I'll go and see it. But maybe they missed that one.
There's a lot of great new characters, actually. So Dory, not a spoiler really to say, she ends up in an aquarium, so with a host of new characters, including Hank the octopus, some hilarious seals. I prefer it personally when it's in the ocean, because it just makes you want to go snorkeling. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's very funny in the aquarium, and it's breaking box office records in the US already. This, I think it'll do very well
Not
over here.
surprisingly. And the surfing dude Turtle, no, he doesn't resurface this time, presumably. Anyway, that looks great. Let's move on, because your best of the week is The Neon Demon.
Yes, so this is Nicholas Winding Refn's sort of horror thriller, which starts off as a bit of a fantasy or a satire about the fashion industry, with Elle Fanning as the young ingenue who's trying to be a model in LA and doing so well that her competitors are driven to extreme lengths of jealousy, let's say. And this has divided critics and divided audiences, but I liked it. I think it's sort of high camp horror. I mean, Refn says he aimed it to be a teen horror, but I'm not sure it's a teen horror because there's only really one teen in it. It's more about her exposure to an adult world. Jenna Malone is the person to really watch out for in this. She has a tremendous role as a makeup artist, and apparently she was so good that Refn then sort of changed the plot of the movie to make it revolve more around her.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Is it that some critics just didn't get the way the acting goes? In other words, that people are acting in a particularly pasteurised, artificial way, because that's the point. It's the fashion industry.
Exactly. I think there's a lot that people didn't get, but that is one of them. Yes, I mean, you could say they were bad actors, but I've seen these actors in other films. They're not bad. They're just being very arch.
And that's what he wanted. Disorder.
Disorder. Okay, so this is a thriller starring Matthias Schoenaerts and Diane Kruger. He is the bodyguard, but it's not a Kevin Costner film. He is hired to look after her when her husband's been arrested. She's a sort of trophy wife. And the interesting thing about all this is that he's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. So is he imagining a threat, or does a threat exist?
A good question. You'll have to watch the DVD to find out. Thank you very much. That's it for this week. You can catch up with all our previous shows on iPlayer. Thanks, Dana. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the movies, and goodbye.
Hello there, good morning. It's a typical mixed bag for this weekend, the last weekend of July. There'll be some decent sunshine around, and it'll feel quite warm in the sunshine too, but there will be a scattering of showers. Already we've got cooler nights in the north. That cooler air will push its way down across the whole of the country eventually. This lovely picture was taken as the sun went down in Shropshire yesterday, but before then we had some heavy showers. A number of funnel cloud pictures from our weather watchers, this one in Cambridgeshire. And those showers across eastern parts of England are taking some time to fade away. By the end of the night, this is where we've got a weak weather front in the southeast. Still some warmer, muggy air here, fresher towards the north. Already beginning to see the sunshine coming out early on Saturday, but there will be some showers as well. So we start the story across, but again, a few bits of rain or drizzle. But as that cloud thins and breaks through the morning, so the sunshine comes through, heats things up and could trigger a few showers as we move into the afternoon. And by then, showers a little more widely across Scotland and Northern Ireland, beginning to develop here and there across England and Wales, mainly towards the west. Temperatures a little below par for Scotland and Northern Ireland, where there's more of a breeze. Still quite warm towards the southeast, 24 degrees here. We will see temperatures dropping fairly quickly though during the evening. The showers, most of them fading away, but the stronger breeze keeps those showers running into the north and perhaps the west of Scotland. But a cooler night. These are the temperatures in the countryside by dawn on Sunday. Noticeably cooler towards the southeast, a more comfortable night for sleeping perhaps. There may be some heavy showers clipping the southeast corner of England on Sunday morning to pull away, and we'll see some sunny spells again, cloud bubbling up, a few scattered showers pushing in. Most of the showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland, and again some of them could be a little on the heavy side. Temperatures still below par in the north, 22 or 23 towards the south, and warm in the sunshine. A little sunshine to begin next week, but cloud amounts will increase, and there's the threat of some outbreaks of rain, mainly pushing into the south and west of the UK. We've got weather fronts lining up in the Atlantic. A lot of uncertainty about this one, how much it clips the southwest and southern parts of England during later Monday. There's another weather front lining up as we head to Tuesday.
A life as turbulent as his work. Art's greatest mystery solved by an amateur. People make jokes about Van Gogh's ear, but really what happened that night was pretty disturbing. One woman's startling quest to find the truth has stunned the art world. The mystery of Van Gogh's ear on BBC Two.
Welcome to BBC News, broadcasting to viewers on public television in the US and around the globe. My name's Gavin Gray. Our top stories. The Zika virus spreads to the US mainland. Florida confirms the first cases of the infection contracted locally. The charity Save the Children says a maternity hospital in Syria has been bombed. At least 2 people are reported dead. Turkey's president is to withdraw lawsuits against hundreds of people charged with insulting him as a gesture of unity following the failed coup. And the bloom of doom, a rare flower that smells of death, overwhelms New Yorkers. Hello. American officials say it's still safe to visit Florida, even though it's just become the first state on the US mainland to confirm cases of the Zika virus transmitted by local mosquitoes. But the British government has now advised pregnant women to consider postponing any non-essential trips to the state. The infection is linked to severe birth defects, but the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is not recommending that pregnant women limit travel to Florida. Tom Donkin reports.
It's not the first time the virus has emerged in the US, but this is the first evidence of homegrown Zika. America has already reported more than 1,600 cases, but these were brought back from other countries. The 4 people who have now tested positive in Florida represent confirmation that local mosquitoes may now be able to infect the population. The state's mayor has appealed for greater vigilance.
I ask every Floridian to take proper precautions by eliminating any standing water. So just a small little thing of standing water, get rid of it all around your house or your business, and wear insect repellent. We know from our experience successfully dealing with other mosquito-borne viruses in our state that through constant surveillance and immediate action that we will protect our families and visitors.
To confirm whether Zika is being carried by mosquitoes in America, scientists are now checking houses and people who live close to the sites where these cases were reported. Authorities say they were expecting this development and are preparing for more widespread instances of infection.
We don't have a crystal ball, but I do know that over the coming weeks and months we are very likely to see isolated cases of mosquito-borne Zika. That's why we say to particularly pregnant women anywhere in the U.S. that you should be using mosquito repellent, wearing long sleeves, and staying indoors to avoid mosquito bites where the Aedes aegypti mosquito is present.
In February, the World Health Organization declared Zika virus a global public health emergency because of the risk to newborn babies. What began as an outbreak in Brazil has spread to more than 20 countries. In severe cases, children can die. Babies who survive face intellectual disability and development delays. Zika does only cause a mild illness in most people, and at this stage none of the 4 cases have been admitted to hospital. But with no vaccine or drug treatment and still so much the experts don't know about this emerging infection, all authorities can do at this stage is try to contain it. Tom Donkin, BBC News.
In Syria, a maternity hospital has been hit by an airstrike, according to the charity Save the Children, which supports the facility. 2 people are reported to have died and a number of patients and staff were injured. Meanwhile, the United Nations Syrian envoy has backed Russian proposals for humanitarian corridors to be set up in the besieged city of Aleppo. Yagita Lamai has more on that development, but first, Greg Dawson reports on the airstrike in Idlib province.
The aftermath of another airstrike on a medical facility in Syria. This time, a maternity hospital serving more than 1,000 women and children each month. The bomb hit the front of the building, which is in the rural Idlib province in the northwest of the country. A woman was in labour at the time, and 2 operations were underway. At least 2 people, thought to be relatives of patients, were killed. These images were supplied by the Save the Children charity, who support the hospital. They say several babies were hurt when incubators crashed to the floor and a pregnant woman lost her leg.
All the medical staff, they went to the ground floor. So none of the medical staff, they got serious injuries except for one midwife who was doing one delivery at that time. But for the people who were standing outside of the hospitals, they are just normal people. They were waiting their women who are delivering in the hospital.
This footage claims to show further damage from the same airstrike. It's unclear how close to the hospital it was filmed. It's not yet described as a despicable pattern of attacks in Syria, deliberately targeting medical facilities. Greg Dawson, BBC News.
A battleground between the Syrian regime and rebel groups. Footage filmed by the Syrian government in Aleppo shows its forces trying to take control of the city. Russia has been an ally in this fight. Now it says it wants to give people a way out of rebel-held parts of Aleppo. Leaflets were dropped showing a map of corridors for civilians to leave.
I'm not sure I will go out. The government's directions of surrender are humiliating as it is. If they are already humiliating us, how about when we actually arrive to the areas they control?
Russia has said it also plans to allow rebel fighters to leave. 2 days ago, the Syrian government had said all supply lines to rebel-held areas had been cut off. Around 250,000 civilians live there. Hospitals have been bombed, and the UN has warned that food stocks will only last 3 weeks. The UN wants to be involved in Russia's plan.
Our suggestion is to Russia to actually leave the corridors being established at their initiative to us. The UN and the humanitarian partners, as you know what to do. They have an experience. That's our job.
The UN has also asked for a ceasefire to give people a chance for a safe exit. For 4 years, Aleppo has seen bloodshed and violence. Whether or not people choose to leave the city if they are given a way out will depend on how the plan will work. But perhaps just as important is how quickly can it all be carried out. Because for hundreds of thousands of people in rebel-held areas of Aleppo, each day is a struggle to survive. Yogut Alamai, BBC News, Beirut.
Some news in brief now, and Brazil's former president Lula da Silva will face trial on charges of obstructing justice. He's been under investigation as part of Operation Car Wash, which is looking into a sprawling corruption scandal focused on the state-run oil company Petrobras. The former president has denied the allegations against him. Criminal charges have been filed against 6 state employees in Michigan over the contamination of drinking water in the city of Flint. The employees at the state's health and environmental departments are accused of misconduct in office, neglect and conspiracy. Russia's weightlifting team has been banned from competing at the Rio Olympics because of doping offences. The International Weightlifting Federation has described the team's record as extremely shocking and disappointing. President Erdogan of Turkey has announced that he's dropping all lawsuits against people accused of insulting him. He was speaking in Ankara at a commemoration event for those killed and wounded during the failed coup attempt of July the 15th. Mr. Erdogan said he was prepared to forgive what he called the many disrespects and insults against him. It's estimated there are some 2,000 lawsuits against individuals, including cases of insults against the president on social media.
The 15th of July should be accepted as a milestone for us to unify. In that direction, I'm withdrawing as a one-off gesture all lawsuits filed against those that insulted me. We need solidarity and should move towards unity.
Well, Ilhan Tanir is a Turkey analyst and journalist working in Washington, and he told us why he wasn't impressed by President Erdogan's latest offer.
Well, look, I mean, those cases were not supposed to be there in the first place. These are insulting cases, many of them students and the journalists and regular citizens of Turkey posting on Facebook or Twitter, very meaningless, almost absurd cases, over 2,000 people. So Mr. President Erdogan showed this as a gesture, which something that never been there in the first place.
We've heard of the detention of hundreds from the army, the police, teachers, civil service, journalists and so forth. To your knowledge, have those arrests now stopped?
No, those arrests are not stopped. They continue full force. I think we may be only the beginning. They started with the education ministry, a lot of teachers and staff, but I think now they are going to go after companies, private companies, and they already shut down a lot of media organizations. So I think this firing and sackings and detainment and arrests, I think we are going to continue here these reports for a long time.
Obviously, you're in contact as a journalist with other journalists there. For those that were being detained, what are they alleged to have done?
This is a great question. I have half a dozen journalist friends in Turkey either detained or on the list to be detained soon. And another dozen or more than dozen journalist friends whom I know we communicate and talk about with Turkey, those are also detained. Nothing, the officials or police, they don't even need to bring any charges right now, leave aside any evidence, because it's state of emergency. Anyone in Turkey right now can be arrested or detained up to 30 days. And right now I know two journalists, are detained for 5 days, and we have not heard anything about them. There are others, more known, let's say famous or more mainstream journalists. Today they just arrested 17, but over the week it's I believe about 50 or 45 to 50 journalists detained, and really there is no evidence. We just heard today reports that officials are asking journalists why you tweet this or why you wrote this. So far the journalists jailed and detained for things they tweet, write or report.
Ilhan Tanir there, a Turkey analyst. Well, stay with us here on BBC News because still to come. Pope Francis visits the Auschwitz death camp in Poland, asking God's forgiveness for so much cruelty.
The US space agency NASA has ordered an investigation after confirmation today that astronauts were cleared to fly while drunk.
The last foot patrol in South Armagh, once an everyday part of the soldiers' lot, drudgery and danger, now no more after almost 4 decades.
If one is on one's own in a private house, not doing any harm to anyone, I don't really see why all these people should wander in and say you're doing something wrong.
6 rare white lion cubs are on the prowl at Worcestershire Park, and already they've been met with a roar of approval from visitors.
They're lovely, yeah, really sweet. Yeah, they're cute.
This is BBC News, I'm Gavin Gray, and these are the latest headlines. Florida has confirmed the first cases of the Zika virus transmitted by mosquitoes on the US mainland. And the charity Save the Children says a maternity hospital in Syria has been bombed. At least 2 people are reported dead. Let's stay with that story now and in Syria, because as we've been reporting, the United Nations Syrian envoy has backed Russian proposals for humanitarian corridors to be set up in the besieged city of Aleppo. Christy Delafield is a spokesperson for Mercy Corps. That's an aid organisation helping relief teams in Aleppo. And she told us what she thought of the idea.
Well, certainly opening a door for people to leave Aleppo city that wish to is important, but it is no substitute for providing humanitarian aid on the ground. As you reported, 250 million people, or as many as 400,000, some estimates say, civilians remain in Aleppo city. And what we're hearing from people there is that humanitarian aid is their only source of food.
And what aid are you able to deliver?
Well, Mercy Corps is the largest NGO that's operating across Syria. In and around Aleppo Governorate, we do a number of different things. We can provide flour to bakeries. We are providing food. We are providing sanitation and hygiene assistance. But unfortunately, like a lot of our peer agencies, Mercy Corps has not been able to get into Aleppo city to resupply for a number of weeks since mid-May. And the situation is becoming increasingly urgent.
I was just going to ask you, it's all very well having the foodstuffs to give people. It's getting it there, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that is one of the things that worries us most. In addition to providing the opportunity for people to leave, what's even more urgent for us is ensuring that we can bring food in and bring supplies in, not just on sort of a one-off basis, but regularly, so that people can depend on these supplies.
And what are people on the ground, civilians, saying to you about these corridors? We heard in the reports that some are very sceptical about how it will work.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing as well. The voices that are coming out of Aleppo seem to be very, frankly, very scared. The people that that Mercy Corps works with, these are the most vulnerable, right? These are widows with young children, they're elderly people who don't have relatives to help them, they're disabled people who aren't really able to move around. And frankly, the war is continuing, right? There's shelling, there's fighting. It doesn't feel safe to try to get to these corridors, to get out. And so we're really watching closely and urging the international community and urging all parties to the conflict to protect civilians and provide for their safety and provide for the safety of aid workers who are courageously trying to assist those communities around them.
Christy Delafield there speaking to us a little earlier from Mercy Corps. Pope Francis has walked in silence around Auschwitz-Birkenau as a mark of respect to the more than 1 million people, mostly Jews, who were killed at the Nazi death camp. Our correspondent Tom Burridge reports.
To a place which exposes the inadequacy of words. Where more than 1 million, mainly Jewish people, were systematically murdered. Pope Francis spoke with some of the few who survived that horror. And a moment to reflect at the wall where Nazi firing squads executed thousands. Then a prayer in a cell where a Catholic priest volunteered to die instead of a stranger. Before they were led to their death, human beings were locked up here like animals. Silence was the response of the Catholic Church when Nazi Germany demonized Jewish people and then attempted to eradicate Jews from Europe. Another visit by a pope reminds us about the evil perpetrated in these buildings. But questions remain for the Catholic Church about what it knew at the time of the Nazi death camps and the systematic program of genocide across Europe. A psalm sung by a rabbi and a reading by a Polish priest from a village which sheltered Jewish families. Events here shamed humanity, a place every pope now visits, on a pilgrimage of reparation. Tom Burridge, BBC News, in Auschwitz.
Kenya has been dealing with a wave of arson attacks that's seen more than 100 schools burnt down this year. Emmanuel Gunza reports.
Scenes like this have become an almost daily occurrence in Kenya, school after school going up in flames in an unprecedented rate. On Friday morning, 2 more schools were torched. This is the latest school in central Kenya to suffer the arson attacks. Even new buildings reduced to shell, and a stark reminder of the events here in past days.
This is the second dormitory to be burnt down in this school in the space of just 1 week. The fire is believed to have started at around that corner at 7 at night. The fire raged on and firefighters quickly came in and together with the students desperately tried to save their belongings. But as you can see around, there isn't much left. All their personal belongings and their beddings have all been destroyed.
The reasons for the attacks remain very unclear. Teachers blame the government blames exam cheats. Teachers' unions have threatened to go on a national strike if the government doesn't close all schools immediately to tackle the crisis. But the government has rejected the calls.
There is no school that is going to be closed early. Learning must continue. All our children must be in school. We will deal with the criminals and crooks that are working on undermining the reforms that we have put in place and trying to blackmail government.
The burning of schools is not a new phenomenon in the country, But the sheer scale and frequency of the attacks has now raised fears and concerns about the uncertain future now facing thousands of students. Emmanuel Igunza, BBC News, Central Kenya.
Saturday marks 50 years to the day since England won the Football World Cup. Our special correspondent Alan Little looks back on that victory.
Why does this moment still resonate so powerfully in England's national memory? 50 years on, it looks like a moment of transition from the monochrome grind of post-war recovery to the technicolor explosion of 60s modernity. Post-war Britain was a country in retreat from global power. Internationally, there had been little cause to cheer. Football was about to change that.
But the different stadium now as well, mine, without the Twin Towers. Yeah. They made a difference.
Alf Howe and Brian Jones, brothers-in-law from Teesside, walked down Wembley Way to that match half a century ago. When you come back here now and think of that day, what do you think of mostly?
I think just the elation.
The success of
the fact that we won something, the elation, the fact that yeah, definitely. I came out and stood against one of the Twin Towers and just slid down like a cartoon figure, completely drained, and I thought, well, you know, what else can happen now? You know, that's it. What have we done? What have we achieved now? You know.
What had they achieved? They had reconnected with a by then fading sense of British greatness, the idea that this was still an exceptional nation. This replica of the original World Cup was used by the team during the victory celebrations in 1966. It's now in the National Football Museum in Manchester.
To my generation, children who grew up in the 1960s, the Jules Rimet Trophy was probably the most glamorous, most thrilling 12 inches of metal anywhere in the world. There was something almost mystical about the power of it. And 5 decades on, I can still feel it, even now.
It had seemed like we'd done nothing but lose before. It was defeat after defeat, whether that be out in the Empire, you know, you'd be getting reports from Malaya, somewhere in Africa, Borneo or whatever. The British were on the retreat. And the same went for football.
The flags in the stadium that day were Union flags. English and British identity were still fused, but not for much longer. All the players were white and mostly working class. They lived the same lives as those who cheered them from the stands. For this was the tail end of an older Britain, not yet multicultural, not yet the age of the super-rich sporting celebrity.
The second period of extra time.
Jeff Hurst's third goal secured victory. The next day, he went home and mowed his lawn. After his football career, he took a job selling insurance. Changed days. Alan Little, BBC News.
Happy days. A foul-smelling plant known as the corpse flower is finally blooming at New York's Botanical Garden after more than 10 years of growth. The smell of rotting flesh is to attract flies and beetles to help the plant pollinate, and it's drawing many visitors.
Smelled like vomit.
Horrible. Garbage. It smells filthy. Yeah, filthy.
What a dog leaves behind.
I sniffed out garbage. I live over in Bushwick, and it smells exactly like the streets of Bushwick. It's disgusting. It's just kind of a hot trash day in Bushwick.
No wonder it's drawing the crowds in that case. This is BBC News.
Hello there, good morning. It's a typical mixed bag for this weekend, the last weekend of July. There'll be some decent sunshine around and it'll feel quite warm in the sunshine too, but there will be a scattering of showers. Already we've got cooler nights in the north. That cooler air will push its way down across the whole of the country. Eventually, this lovely picture was taken as the sun went down in Shropshire yesterday, but before then we had some heavy showers. A number of funnel cloud pictures from our weather watchers, this one in Cambridgeshire. And those showers across eastern parts of England are taking some time to fade away. By the end of the night, this is where we've got a weak weather front in the southeast. Still some warmer, muggy air here, fresher towards the north. Already beginning to see the sunshine coming out early on Saturday, but there will be some showers as well. So we start the story across Northern Ireland and again a few bits of rain or drizzle. But as that cloud thins and breaks through the morning, so the sunshine comes through, heats things up and could trigger a few showers as we move into the afternoon. And by then showers a little more widely across Scotland and Northern Ireland, beginning to develop here and there across England and Wales, mainly towards the west. Temperatures a little below par for Scotland and Northern Ireland where there's more of a breeze. Still quite warm towards the southeast, 24 degrees here. We will see temperatures dropping fairly quickly though during the evening. The showers, most of them fading away, but the stronger breeze keeps those showers running into the north and perhaps the west of Scotland. But a cooler night. These are the temperatures in the countryside by dawn on Sunday. Noticeably cooler towards the southeast, a more comfortable night for sleeping perhaps. There may be some heavy showers clipping the southeast corner of England on Sunday morning to pull away. And we'll see some sunny spells again, cloud bubbling up, a few scattered showers pushing in. Most of the showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland. And again, some of them could be a little on the heavy side. Temperatures still below par in the north, 22 or 23 towards the south and warm in the sunshine. A little sunshine to begin next week, but cloud amounts will increase and there's the threat of some outbreaks of rain, mainly pushing into the south and west of the UK. We've got weather fronts lining up in the Atlantic. A lot of uncertainty about this one, how much it clips the southwest and southern parts of England during later Monday. There's another weather front lining up as we head to Tuesday.
A life as turbulent as his work. Art's greatest mystery solved by an amateur. People make jokes about Van Gogh's ear, but really what happened that night was pretty disturbing. One woman's startling quest to find the truth has stunned the art world. The mystery of Van Gogh's ear on BBC Two.
The latest headlines from BBC News, I'm Gavin Gray. The US state of Florida has confirmed the first 4 cases of the Zika infection to be contracted from local mosquitoes. Until now, all known cases in the United States have been connected to people catching Zika abroad. US officials insist that Florida is still a safe place to visit. A maternity hospital in Syria has been hit by an airstrike, according to the charity Save the Children. 2 people are reported to have died and a number of patients, including babies, have been wounded. The bombing happened in a rebel-held area of Idlib province in the northwest of the country. And President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey has announced that, as a gesture of goodwill, he's withdrawing all lawsuits against individuals accused of insulting him. Almost 2,000 prosecutions for insulting the president had been approved in the last 2 years. And those are the headlines on BBC News. 2 men, one of them a former British judo champion, have been jailed for 4 years for trying to smuggle 18 Albanian migrants into Britain. None of the migrants had been given a life jacket and they believed they were minutes from death. Our correspondent Duncan Kennedy reports.
This was the ghostly image of the migrants' boat adrift, without petrol and taking on water. Closer up you can see the 2 smugglers in their red clothing. Robert Stilwell and Mark Stribling had life jackets on. The 18 Albanian migrants, including 2 children and a woman, did not. On the right of the shot you can see one migrant desperately trying to bail out water. The judge today said everyone here was within a whisker of a tragedy. Stilwell and Stribling were each paid £2,000 to smuggle the migrants in. The migrants each paid £5,000 to make the journey.
We often see that people smugglers treat human beings as a commodity. in this instance, they were treated as cargo.
Robert Stilwell was a former British judo champion and was today given 4 years in jail. Mark Stribling also received 4 years. The court heard the two men were given the boat as hired hands and weren't the real organisers, who aimed to make around £90,000 from this one single trip. Today's sentencing brings to an end one of the biggest people smuggling cases ever to reach the British courts. There have been warnings for months about the vulnerability of the UK coastline, given the numbers of migrants reaching northern France. The government says it's aware of the problem and is now increasing the number of maritime patrols. In a separate but almost identical case today, this man, Stephen Jackson, was also jailed for people smuggling along the south coast. He used this catamaran to bring in 17 Albanian migrants into Chichester harbour. They too were caught. 35 migrants were involved in today's two cases. All but 9 have now been sent back. This has been a success for the Home Office, but also a warning about British coastal defences. Duncan Kennedy, BBC News in Kent.
Well, now BBC News, it's time for Our World.